Okay. Here we go. All right. So that's up. Yeah, I've played God of War many times. It's one of my
Okay.
favorite games.
So
Uh,
I guess note to self: never show Trigun footage ever.
right? Uh,
Weird.
let's see.
All right, I'm gonna go
Uh,
try to wrangle the cat one more time. Let's see what she's doing.
okay. Uh, oh, that's my old stream. Show me my new stream, you dingle dicks. 45 views 2 hours ago. Okay. YouTube, stop it. Live. Okay, so this one is working. Holy crap. So Not Yours has 48 people watching her. Good job. I'm happy for her. I would share a link to her stream, but now I'm scared. Oh, hello. Hi, Fancy. Falsy. Bye, Sal. Bye. Falsel. Falsel. Okay. I would share this one out, but fuck it. I don't even care. Hello, everyone. All right. So where am I at in the stream? Or in the game is, yes, Atreus being a dick. Oh, wait.
So funny story.
Yeah.
Uh, Mao Yin, Meow Yin, my little green-eyed cat. She doesn't want to come in. She's running around the neighborhood murdering things, like her favorite thing ever. And I'm like, okay, well, she'll probably just come in on her own, like middle of the night. Which means I don't have to let her out at 6 in the morning, so that's good. But I'm like, where's Yellow Man, the other cat? He usually sticks around, and he's a big white blonde cat, so I can see him really easily with a flashlight.
Yeah.
Turns out he's been in this man cave with me the whole time. He's like sleeping in my closet. So.
He's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Cool. So, God of War. Is this the Norse one with the little boy?
Yeah. Yes. Dad of boy.
Now, what are your thoughts that like they're gonna finally turn God of War into a movie, but they're gonna start here?
Well, what they were going to do was, I was actually talking about this earlier. Sony had hired Rafe Judkins, who is the showrunner for the Wheel of Time TV show.
Fucking hilarious name.
To do, oh, he's a hilarious person.
Rafe Judkins.
Yeah, they hired him to be showrunner of the God of War TV show, but the director of this game, Cory Barlog, he directed God of War 2, and he directed this soft reboot they did, the God of War 2018. He is the executive producer for Sony, in charge of it. He refused to accept any of the scripts that Rafe Judkins and his writing team have produced over the last 2 years. So eventually, he got fired. So I can pull this up. I know I can pull this up because I've shown it on stream before. Rafe Judkins, and I won't call him any names this time. Why do I hear noises? Coming from
Oh, I'm sorry,
phone?
I'm messing around with my mic.
Oh no,
I was looking at my game stack. I know I have God of War, one of them. It's either 2 or 3.
yeah.
But I don't think I have a case, so it's in another video game case. I don't have a whole lot of video games, but I did play God of War 2 or 3, whichever one it was. But also God of War was in Mortal Kombat 9 Kratos. That was a good crossover. It's like he belongs in Mortal Kombat, I think. But I remember playing this God of War game and being like, there were like sex scenes and like titties with nipples and shit. I was like, whoa, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, they don't have that in the new ones. God of Wars 1, 2, and 3 all have a QTE sex section. Now you don't see the sex scenes, but you hear them, and you got to push the QTEs at the right time in order to make the lady climax. And if you do, you get more red orbs, which are experience points.
I'm pretty sure I remember a mission where I had to like fuck a woman.
Yeah,
That was cool.
you see them laying on the
I
bed
saw
with their
titties
titties out,
and yeah,
but
okay.
then when he climbs in bed and it's two women,
Yeah, he's
when
like
he
thrusting on, but you don't see any penetration or something, right?
well, it just pans over and you see in one of them you see it's like a
Okay,
vase next to the bed bouncing up and down. One of them
nice.
is like a fountain.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so God of War showrunner, uh, God of War, Sony and Amazon starting over on series after departure of EPs, executive producers Rafe Judkins, Ha Otsby, and Mark Fergus. They all three have fucking hilarious names.
Yeah, those are
But
some great names.
now they're gonna
Fergus.
have the guy who did the is it Babylon 5? Fuck. All right, Deadline. You can suck every part of my dick. Fuck you. Um
Stream suspended for violent. No, I'm just joking. No, you're fine.
let's see. Uh I's new creative direction. Yeah, so basically, um the idea that Rafe Judkins was ever going to be able to oh shit, I should look at my chat. Um you can watch a God of War 1 walkthrough with titties on it on YouTube right now. Nice.
Bro, there are literally Skinamax movies on YouTube in full, like with titties and sex scenes, like
Well,
softcore movies.
you can watch if you have a signed in profile, you can search naked yoga and watch girls
Yep,
full butt
it's
naked.
educational.
All you can see all the way inside their buttholes.
Single
And
massages.
yeah. So I mean,
It's weird. You go
yeah.
browse like the YouTube live tab, see what's live right now. First of all, they never show you like the people you subscribe to on that tab. Second of all, it's like
Right?
mostly like either
Yeah.
political, video games, or perverted weird crap like that. You're like, what? Like it's like a 12-hour like video of someone getting a body massage. Now you know it's not live. It's
Yeah.
just like some like compilation video of a bunch of naked people getting rubbed down, and there's like 15,000 viewers, and they're all like in Bangladesh or wherever. It's weird.
Well, there are some countries that you can't
Get porno.
yeah. Like my Stellar Blade videos are very popular in those countries. Alright.
Hello, juicy
I'll have to
melon
check out
girl.
the yoga stuff for educational purposes. Yeah.
For research. Yeah, who's that guy who says cute little Indian songs to his cat? He's like, hello, little sugar plum.
I don't know. That sounds
Shake
hilarious.
your little booty bum. And the cat's just staring at him like, what the fuck? Good morning, little beauty.
That does sound funny as fuck though.
He's got like a bunch of them. Yeah, fun stuff. Well, what'd you do for your birthday?
I was working, so I did nothing. The Saturday before my birthday, so the day before Easter, my mom came over with cupcakes to hang out with me and the kids. But other than that, yeah, we didn't really do anything. I wasn't even able to really stream because I had to get ready for fucking the new game for research. Dude, so earlier, Level Up Pup, he does a lot of gaming. He streams hard games. Like, one of my favorite people to watch because he's, like, way more wholesome than I'll ever be. For sure. But, like, he keeps getting these people to, like, this dude came in, got mad at him because he wouldn't do everything he said. And then just started shitting on him. And I don't understand why people do that. But yeah, he's trying to beat one of the hardest bosses I've ever fought without getting hit, which is an insane thing to do. But
I suppose we can't rule it out.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can stream. I like have a conversation and play a video game. I don't know how people do that.
Playing it super well, you know, and doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Because well,
yeah, you know. I'm
this
trying to play the super hard bad guy and not get hit. I'd be like, can you guys in the chat stop talking to me for a second? Oh.
Well, that I could just ignore. You know what I mean? Like,
just hearing
just ignore
chat buttons
for a minute. But yeah, this isn't. like what I'm gonna be doing. All right. So
Honestly, I would only want to watch
no
someone
anime.
do Let's Plays. Like this is what I should start doing. I'm actually nothing like this. I'm very like I die in a video game. I'm just like, ha, like
Wait,
but like it'd be
is this
funny if you were like a person with hardcore like fucking gamer rage, like rage quitting and shit.
yeah.
Like that, I think your channel would blow up if you were like constantly like remember like Tourette's dad? Like if you were like that playing video games, like God damn it, motherfucker, like purposely sucking, and getting hurt and stuff. Fuck
Uh
this fucking thing. Like I would watch the shit out of someone who is legit like that, Oh my god, him
yeah.
hyperbolic ninjas playing video games. He goes ape shit every time. I'd be like, oh hell yeah, let's tune in.
Yeah, I don't
No, no, what the fuck? Like yelling at your computer like that. Like that would be hilarious.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't really rage in video games that much.
Yeah,
There
like I'm
are
realizing
there are
I don't see any
now
let's players raging, And I
there
think I should
are
see more of that.
times where I will. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
I think the most I'll get upset is like I'll die and I'll be like, all right, that's enough video games for today. I'll just be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I was I was fighting. All right, I know I can watch my own fucking videos YouTube. So I was fighting the what the let's just do this. On the hardest difficulty of God of War Ragnarok. And I had a broken controller that had stick drift. So it made it very, very difficult to actually Jesus Christ, content. What is happening? Okay. So it made it very difficult to actually get it done. But I did get it done. And I will say there were times in the hours leading up to this that I raged out pretty hard.
You know what I am realizing though is like, cause I'm pretty good at video games. Like I don't play a lot, but like when I do like play GTA online, I mean, granted it's been 6 months, so I don't know, I might be a little rusty, but I'm one of those dudes where like, I have definitely like beaten the shit out of people in video games. Like come out on top. I was a bit of a wizard growing up, and I don't play video games as much nowadays, but like I definitely pick up new video games and just kind of get in the groove. But I am realizing I did play it's either Uncharted 1 and 2 or Uncharted 2 and 3. I can't remember. But I remember beating the first one and being like, that was cool. Let's play the second one. And it was the very last bad guy, the big boss level. You're like in a cave fighting like some kind of supernatural character who's like chasing you around. I think this is the end of part 2. But like, yeah, he killed me a bunch of times, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna put it down. And then I realized, like, I don't think I ever played it again. I don't think I ever beat it. So it's pretty close.
You know,
I should probably try that now.
that sounds like my experience with Uncharted. I fucking I played it. I think I because you can play them all for free on the PlayStation Plus, right? Which I
Nice.
have. So I think I started one and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is cool." And then I never went back to it. I was just like, "Yeah, yeah,
Like I said, I
never
beat the
finished."
first one and quit the very
Have a
last
good night,
bad guy
Deimos.
of the second one. Good night.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about Uncharted, what I liked about it a lot, well, first of all, like all the cutscenes, they're pretty seamlessly cut in there. That was fun. It's a very cinematic game. But what I really loved about it that I haven't really seen in a lot of video games was like really showcasing how like one guy with a machine gun versus 5 guys with machine guns, that one guy's dead. You're gonna die. You're gonna get
Yeah.
cover. Like you're so like when there's multiple people with guns after you, you realize like, oh my god, this is bad. Or like when you have a gun and another guy has a machine gun, like you have a pistol and another guy has a machine gun, you're like, dude, this is bad. Like he's gonna kill me. Ugh,
Right.
getting shot is bad. And a lot of video games, like you get shot multiple times and you just kind of walk it off, later. I get it, it's a video game. But yeah, getting shot like slowly kills you, usually. In Uncharted, I remember it being pretty easy to die.
I don't remember much about the game other than going, that's one of the games not for me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I got like video games that came for free with my PlayStation 3 when I bought it, you know. So it was like a couple Uncharted games. They came
Yeah.
in little envelopes, like they didn't even come in the cases. Because I guess PS3 was already old at the time, you know, when I got it.
Yeah.
But there was um what was it? Infamous 1 and 2. Those were fun. Played those a couple times all the way through, like both a couple like good and bad, you know.
Yeah.
Those were fun. Those were interesting. They could make an Infamous movie, maybe, if you try to. But
Oh,
you
the
know,
Infamous? Yeah.
yeah, PlayStation 2 though, you know, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Vice City, that shit. But Manhunt 1 and 2, holy crap, dude, those were some awesome games.
I don't even
Like
remember that.
Manhunt were like these, you can't even get them anymore, I bet. But like if they and they could never remake it. It was vicious, violent psychopath running around killing people with bags and shards of glass and
Holy
crowbars
shit.
and whatever you could find. But the story was cool. Like the first story was like you're like a fugitive on the run, and there's like a doctor who's done experiments with you, and you have like amnesia, and you've also got this like other character who's like in your head who's like coaxing you along. You're basically insane, running around, you know, killing people who are like quote unquote after you, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a big like psychological reveal, and then I think the second one was the same thing, except there's like it was like for entertainment purpose, like you're in a like a kills center, and like everyone's like there's like video cameras and shit to watch like weird people watching you like try to kill people. It was weird. But the point is, it was insanely violent, insanely gory, and just like, you know, if you were into like heavy metal, death metal, black metal, you know, this was like a game like that. It was like just really hardcore, like unnecessary. It was like Rotten.com the game. I loved it.
You know, that's one thing I have noticed. Video games used to be um even like Sony, like you said, God of War 1 was not like no one really thought it was going to be as big as it was. But God of War 2, everyone knew how big the series
Right.
was already. That's why God of War 1 ends not sequel bait. It ends. It ends and it shows Kratos being the God of War throughout the rest of history, all the way up through World War II and the Vietnam War. Like Kratos
Sweet.
is a God of War, and that's it. They show that. And then God of War is like, nah, never mind. That made a lot of money. We're gonna fucking do this again. But God of War 2 came out. Same thing, sex scenes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like brutal, gruesome, and there is still a lot of gore. Don't get me wrong. Like these God of War games are gory. The
Yeah.
like the Wolfer, like let's see. Um
I remember the God of War game I played was fun. It was a little repetitive, a lot of button mashing, just a lot of putting down bad guys and running into the next room. But yeah, it was fun. It was a cool story. You know, it was a wild, it was a cool vibe. It had great like production design. You know, all the settings and levels and characters and all that stuff was neat. And then yeah, I like the idea. I haven't played any of the other ones, but I like the idea that each one is like a different, you know, section of God, you know, history. And I like the idea. This new one is like Norse mythology, you know, it's like that stuff's cool. You know,
yeah.
Greek gods and Roman gods and whatever the hell. I don't know what other sequels there are, but the shit's neat.
Well, the first three of the Greek ones, like if you watch oh, I don't am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm seeing you looking through YouTube on God of War.
All right.
You're not
So,
sharing your screen here in Discord though.
oh, I'm
But I
not.
am I'm seeing what you're sharing on YouTube, so
Okay. Well,
and it's just me and you here, so
I can share my. Yeah.
eh, you don't need to.
Okay.
But do it anyway.
Now I can't exit out of it. Let's see. If I don't full screen, then whenever I go to share my screen, it's one of the most ridiculous fucking things.
No, no,
Uh,
no. Don't share it here and just press you know, yeah, just keep do. Oh,
there.
okay, you got
Okay.
it.
I got it. But like this death is hilarious because oh, well, just watch it. Tell because there's a guy who's a fucking joke,
Is that a
but
werewolf or something?
yeah, it's a wolfer.
Hell
So
yeah.
watch this death animation. Watch fucking like
Rad.
it's
Yeah.
still
That's
pretty
why when
fucking
I
brutal.
remember Mortal Kombat 9 was like the first, they were like talking about doing bonus characters, and yeah, Freddy Krueger, Who else? It was I think a couple OG characters like Rain or somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was Freddy Krueger and fucking Kratos. And I remember everybody thinking, including myself, like, dude, Kratos totally belongs like the Mortal Kombat universe. Like he fits right in.
Manhunt was banned in a lot of countries. I didn't know that.
Fuck yeah.
I
I
never
believe it
even.
for I totally but it was a cool story. It was like a
Yeah.
game that kind of played out like a movie. And I think Brian Cox was like the voice of the bad guy, you know? Like
Oh, nice.
he's an actor. He's a big actor, you know? He's like
Yeah.
he did Shakespeare and you know.
Uh, Pup says Elite Death breaking his setup over Destiny 2.
What?
Mortal Kombat fatalities are stupid now. I don't know. The old lady got a hair in her ass and was like, "Hey, let's play Mortal Kombat." And I was like, "Fuck, all right." Because the new one is such a big game. I had to delete stuff off my PlayStation in order to download it. And then she's like, "Oh, let's buy these skins." And I'm like, "Fuck you. I don't want to give money to this company." And so we wound up the downloading the game for free from PlayStation and then spending like another $40 on skins. And I was like, "Dude, this is insane." But we played
That's
like 6 games and then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to play anymore." And
yeah.
never played it since.
Dude, I remember the leap from Mortal Kombat 1 to 2. Because it was like Mortal Kombat 1, I remember playing it in an arcade in Mexico or near Mexico at a burger joint. Like
Yeah.
a middle of nowhere, some random little burger joint, nobody there, and then there was just like an arcade. It was Mortal Kombat. That's cool. What the hell's this? And
Oh,
then it
back in the
seemed
day.
like,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it seemed like a couple months later, it's like coming out on Sega Genesis, coming out on Super Nintendo. And it's like okay, and then everyone played it, and then like a year later, Mortal Kombat 2 came out and in the arcade. And dude, like I remember being at Peter Piper Pizza and everyone like little boys and girls alike were just all staring at it. Like when you're talking about like the costumes and the characters and the colors and just like how much more vivid everything looked in Mortal Kombat 2 is such a great upgrade. And yeah, the new Mortal Kombat's, man, like I haven't played them. Like what's unfortunate is like I've seen the story mode, let's like play alongs, and I'm the story is weak. The story's not that great. That we're in this like multiverse level thing now ever since part 9. And
Oh,
there's
yeah. I don't know.
there's like a lot of quote unquote like you know I don't know woke and diverse shit and weird feminism doesn't belong in Mortal Kombat at all. Mortal Kombat is just so hardcore. It's supposed to be.
Well,
It's like God of War or sorry Warhammer. You
yeah.
know.
The whole thing was like the more pixels we get, the less skin we see. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like the costumes are less sexy and stuff, or no, not even that. The women are just less sexy.
Yeah.
And but the thing that's so cool about this new game is like the costume stuff is fucking amazing. Like that is the one thing I will give the new Mortal Kombat is like you could customize like Scorpion's outfit. There's so many. It's basically a fashion game at this point. You know, like you could play the shit out of that game and hardly ever do any actual fighting. I'm guessing if you had all the downloadable costumes, you could
Yeah.
change like there's so much customization going on with everyone's costumes. And the thing is, like, it looks awesome. Like the fabric looks legit real. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 was a blast. That's how you do a remake. Like remake the first 3 games in one game and like change a little bit here and there, you know, because I get it. This is like the beginning of the whole multiverse alternate timeline craze that we're currently in, you know. It was like one of the first franchises to do it. And
Yeah.
I commended it for it because it was a fun game and they managed to work in all the fucking characters. You know, it's a huge task to do like on a script level. Like how do you write this, you know, as a story? Story mode was like mind-blowing. Not mind-blowing, but it was just like it was cool seeing Mortal Kombat kind of evolve into this like bigger thing and really make a cohesive plot of these really ridiculous sounding storylines, you know? Because you know, back in the day, you'd get like one little screen that'd be like Kung Lao is basically a monk and he throws his hat and he's related to Liu Kang. And you're like, cool. You know, it's just that's all the info I need. You know, I don't need a whole
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
I can use my imagination for the rest. You know what I
But I
mean?
was even more disappointed by the new Mortal Kombat movie, man, because like it was like, yeah, okay, they got the violence this time, but like it's just there was no actual Mortal Kombat. It was a bunch of like assassination missions, like and attempts to sabotage Mortal Kombat before it started. Um, I don't know. It was just a dumb
Oh,
story, and
I'm
it,
remembering the fucking Mortal Kombat game we downloaded, whichever one it was. I don't care. I'm not even gonna
oh yeah,
look
one
it
of the
up.
crazy
It
customized
it,
ones.
it had Jacqueline or Jacqueline, fucking Jax's daughters in there.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Johnny
weird.
Johnny Cage's daughters in there. It's like, wait, what? What is happening?
I want to say that's X, but yeah, like that's like it's now been like a few years after everyone's been doing their thing, and now there's some kids running around. But it's interesting because then you have these, you're playing Mortal Kombat like just versus mode, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill my mom. It's like
Yeah,
Cassie Cage is gonna kill her mom, Sonya. It's like that's a little weird. I didn't like that. Thought it was a bit much involving the children.
yeah.
Next generation. How about the next generation of warriors that just aren't directly related to us, or if they are, it's like distant relatives, Kung
Yeah.
Lao, Liu Kang, they're
Yeah,
not brothers.
there's a lot of generations separating those two, I think.
Oh, the other shitty thing the movie did, and I knew they would. They always do. They always take like your cool, mysterious character like Wolverine and Boba Fett and Scorpion, and they have to fucking make them the center of attention and just overuse them and over-explain their backstory and
Yeah.
like make him the main character all of a sudden. It's like, no, dummies. Scorpion's so badass because he's kind of off on the distance doing his own thing. Oh, he's trying to avenge his death, from like years ago and kill Sub Zero. He's got his own thing going on. He's from the Nether Realm. He's like basically a demon. And you're like, that's badass. And it's like, yeah, but it's cool. Liu Kang, watch Liu Kang. That's why Scorpion's so cool because he's like over there. The fact that you're like, everyone loves Scorpion. Let's make it about him. It's like,
Yeah.
well, no,
Let's
like, let's not.
let's make you feel sorry for him.
Boba
Like,
Fett. Everyone loves Boba Fett. Let's just make a whole show about him and explain him and just like. So now I know like who's in the mask in Empire
you know
Strikes
what?
Back, And I'm like, this is
I
stupid.
I love the actor who plays Boba Fett because he
Of
tried
course.
like they didn't even call him back anymore because like he wouldn't shut up. He's like, yeah, I. He came out in interviews and he's like, yeah, I kept telling him Boba Fett wouldn't say this shit.
Yeah, and
And
you know how many terrible movies that guy's been in? Like, he's been in good movies too,
yeah,
in little bit parts in here. But this is like, you're telling me Disney's gonna pay me to be the leading man of a fucking series? Like, why wouldn't he do that and love it and be happy with
yeah.
it?
Well, and the thing is, the actor was like, you could tell like he was trying to argue with him, but uh, just by the things he said. But he's like, yeah, whatever, fuck. I mean, I would take the money. But if they had made the Boba Fett show, say, instead of trying to make it like a few years after the fact, and like trying to like, how do you explain him being so much older and fatter?
Fat and old and bald.
Yeah, just be like make it be somebody came to find it. Make it
20 years later.
like
Make
an
it 20
old
years later.
western, like Unforgiven or something. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we
where
don't see
like
Boba Fett
he's
in his armor ever. Like he's like a cowboy now, and like we had stories about you. We're looking for this guy.
yeah,
You know,
he's like, you know what? Fucking I'm over it. I had to climb out of a fucking Sarlacc pit. This is bullshit. You know what? Fuck it. I'm out. And they're like,
don't even call it
the
the
call
Boba
to
Fett
action.
show.
The call to
Call it.
action comes back. I would have liked it better, but
What's
you
the
know,
name of the planet Jabba's on? Is he on Tatooine?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's on Tatooine. So the beginning of Return of the Jedi takes place in Tatooine,
yeah,
Jabba's palace.
yeah. He goes back to
So yeah,
Tatooine.
just call the show Tatooine. But Boba Fett happens to be like one of the central characters,
Yeah,
and like yeah, like you see that part where like you see like Boba Fett without his mask or anything. The actor, he's wearing like maybe like a cowboy hat and a robe. He's like the ranger in Lord of the Rings. He's like you're like, oh shit, is that Boba Fett?
yeah,
That's kind of cooler. Less, like I said, less is more. Like I said, they can't help themselves. They did it with Wolverine. Like, oh, Wolverine, everyone loves him. We're gonna come out with like his origin story.
yeah.
Turns out he was a sickly boy named James Howler or whatever. Howlett. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah,
Um.
he had.
Yeah, I don't know. And then they took Wolverine, who was like a side character, and kind of put him in the front line of the X-Men because I
I
mean,
hope he's not in the new
worked
X Men,
out.
man. Take a break from him.
Yeah. Uh, so going back to the God of War TV show, Ronald Moore, who did Battlestar Galactica, he's gonna be taking over. Now I pulled up his movies and TV shows. And there are kind of a lot of bullshit movies. Mission Impossible
I
2,
that's a
Star
fucking
Trek
bad one.
Generations.
Another bad one. First Contact too.
Yeah.
I know that I keep hearing that For All Mankind is dope. It's good, but I don't know if it's still good.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think he's done enough good. I don't think he wrote these movies. Let's see, Star Trek Generations. Fucking Reddit. Fuck off, Reddit. Nobody wants to pay attention to you. Okay. Ooh, overview. Cast? No, that's just gonna give you the cast, huh? Fucking William Shatner. He might be the chattest dude ever. Him and Michael Dorn both. Actually,
yeah.
Jonathan Franks is pretty. Like these three dudes here are awesome. Yeah, actually, Brent Spiner's pretty awesome too. Fuck.
Patrick Stewart, man, dude, I was watching Robin Hood Men in Tights last night, and
Yeah.
fucking Patrick Stewart shows up at the end as King Richard.
Well,
And
Patrick Stewart and LeVar Burton both kind of
LeVar Burton's become annoying.
they both have drank the Kool-Aid hard. Like you would think Patrick Stewart is older than William Shatner, but he's not. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And like Patrick Stewart's like vegan and like he pushed hard. I don't know if you watched the Picard. Hello, big ship. How are you tonight? Logan rules.
Shit,
Logan is a great movie. One of, if not the best comic book movie. Shatner was apparently an asshole on the original Star Trek. He hated Nimoy and demanded that he
Yeah.
loses no fist fights and has more lines than any other character in each episode. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's not. Hey, Taletna, if you want to join us, I don't know if we're friends on Discord, but it is Taletna's birthday tonight.
Whoa.
So good, happy birthday, Kevin. You missed the suspension. Yeah, my first stream got fucked on tears.
It was weird because like we watched a little bit of a Trigun,
Yeah,
and then
like-
you get a stream suspended, so we stopped watching it. And then ever since after that, it kept getting suspended like every few minutes, and it was like flickering practically. It was weird.
yeah. Hello, Gord King. How are you tonight?
Yo.
Happy birthday.
Gordo.
Yeah, I need to see. Yeah. Kevin, if you want to join, in send me a message on
Yeah.
Discord, I guess.
I know Gord King on Discord.
Yeah, Gord King. If anyone who wants to join, let me know. I will add you to the call. It's just a Discord call, so you don't have to worry about cameras or anything, because I'm not showing that shit anyways.
Yeah, you're.
Let's see.
It's like disembodied voice radio.
Yeah, I don't even have people's icons put up because I don't know
Cool.
exactly how to do that.
There's a way.
Well, one day, I mean, if I remember, I will go back in the description and add links to everyone who joins, because that is the right thing to do. But that's if I remember. And, you know, with 4 children, and now I'm back to full-time work, which is awesome because fucking hated not working. I may or may not remember to do that. Let's see. Let's see. Kevin, happy birthday and happy 300. Yes, I joined, but I'm too lazy. Okay. I cannot, unfortunately, just woke up to get ready for work. That's fine, man. Have a good night at work.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, did you watch Picard? Any of that? I don't know if you like
No.
Star Trek or not.
I it's like I go back and forth over which one's worse, Star Trek or Star Wars. But yeah, I did not watch any of the Kurtzman stuff. I liked Star Trek 9.
Okay.
Is that the one? It's with the first one
Space
with
Nine?
no, Deep Space Nine's great. I first watched Star Trek when I was growing weed, going to art school, and I remember we trim up herb. And during the trim season, like every 11 weeks, like I had like 20 pounds of weed to trim, and it took forever. So we'd watch like a whole show. We moved past the idea of like watching just bunch of movies to like, all right, well, let's just watch The Wire, or let's just watch Breaking Bad in its
Yeah.
entirety, or let's watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. And that was one that neither me or my friend, were had seen before. But I heard good things, and yeah, dude, it was badass. It was like,
So
whoa, it was like mind blowing.
the first season of Star Trek, The Next Generation, is a little tismy,
Yeah,
but
two is there's a
it
specific episode,
it
Measure
does
of a
pick up.
Man. That was the specific episode that was like, this is good. What is this? This is awesome.
I want to fight Sigrun right now. Do it, bud. Do it, and I'll stream your stream, and I'll talk over it.
Trimming weed sucks. It's funny because it's bittersweet because it's like the best and the worst part of the whole thing. Because like, yeah, you're getting all this weed, and we would
Yeah.
use the gloves. We'd have little nitro gloves, so like you get all this like finger hash because yeah, your hand they're so sticky, like fresh
Yeah.
weed buds, and like you get like the stickiness on your fingers. And yeah, with the gloves, like what you do is you just rub your fingers together and like collect this like finger hash. So yeah, we'd be baked out of our minds just watching like, Star Trek The Next Generation, trimming weed mindlessly and just being like, whoa, like the one where like some of the best ones were like what was it? Worf gets paralyzed and wants to kill himself. Like I said, Measure of a Man's probably one of my top 5 episodes of all time. I like the one where the guy, this would have been me, the guy who's terrified of going into the transporters. That would totally be me. You have to understand, like you're that much more brave because you teleport yourself, because you have to understand teleporting yourself is killing yourself.
Yeah,
Like
right?
you're going to die and be replaced by a clone who knows everything that you knew. But basically what you experience when you go into a telepod is you walk in and then you're incinerated. You're disintegrated. You die. That's it. Blackness. Meanwhile, there's another little perfect clone of you that has emerged and they have all your memories. So you don't know the difference. But yeah,
Yeah,
the idea that there's like hundreds of you in hell, like that's awesome.
Yeah. So you can go from the end of Star Trek, The Next Generation, straight to Picard season 3. And because that's what I did. I didn't watch Picard season 1. I didn't watch Picard season 2 because I
Yeah.
was like, nah, fuck that. Um, but it is awesome. It is legit awesome.
Now
Because
I'm gonna say
it
some.
was made by a guy named Terry Metalis, right? And he worked on Star Trek, The Next Generation. Hold on. Let's see. How the fuck do you spell Terry Metalis? Oh,
I don't know.
fucking Google
I,
knows
I
what
know
I
I know
want.
all about Picard though. I did watch like the Red Letter Media reviews and a few other shows about it. And season 1 and 2 were awful, and then season 3 did like the old bait and switch where like everyone was like, it's actually really good, and then the last episode was like, oh nope, all the females are in charge again. Never mind. It's
I
woke.
didn't get that. I didn't
That's
get
what I
that at
heard.
all. No,
Like at the last episode, like all the women are kind of like picking up where it leaves. It's like they're kind of
nope. I,
okay.
I who the fuck said that?
I don't know. I just heard that it's like I don't remember. I mean, I just remember hearing like it's pretty good. It's really good, and then a lot of people just being upset with the last episode.
Ah, man, I think some people just want to be upset. Uh
Possible.
Kevin, I don't know how to add you to Discord, but if you send me a friend request, I might be able to figure out how to accept it.
Vision Quest. Oh yeah, the 12 Monkeys show.
Yeah, 12 Monkeys, which I actually really like. That show is fucking wild.
I love the movie. People
Yeah,
talk about like, oh,
the
best
movie's
Bruce
good.
Willis movies. I'm like 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Definitely best Brad Pitt performance. That's for sure.
Oh man, I don't know because Brad Pitt's been in some good fuck. He's done some
Now,
good
yeah,
shit.
he's Seven
Troy,
and Fight Club, and yeah, he's good in a
he's
lot of
good in
stuff.
Troy. He looks weird with long hair, but he's fucking good in that movie.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he was great in that.
I still
I heard
haven't watched it.
when the movie premiere, he's like fucking almost 60 years old, and the movie's premiere, there's a part where he's on like some roof and he takes his shirt off and he's all ripped, and apparently like fucking ladies are all like, oh woo, like hooting and hollering and shit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, dude. Like fucking. I mean,
Yeah,
Brad Pitt.
California's a good one, Boosh. Hell yeah, California, where he's like crazy psychopath. Thelma and Louise, obviously, where he's got that time. No, you know what I love him in is True Romance, where he's Michael Rappaport's stoner roommate, and he's just like, "You won't fuck with me, man. I'll fuck kill you." Smoking his bong, you know. I remember that shit.
Night Boosh.
He's in a great Tales from the Crypt episode. He's in one of the episodes that's not, that's like grounded in realism. It's about like a drag racer who is like dating. He's a drag racer. He's a bad boy. Wears like a leather jacket, drives a big old fucking muscle car, and he's dating this hot blonde. But her dad is like the sheriff, and I guess he has a history also being a drag racer. And yeah, it's like this crazy it's kind of like Fear, you know.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's all evil and shit.
Oh fuck! I just looking on my YouTube homepage, and that's right. They're doing they're doing a sequel to Midnight, which is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
Now,
Dude, I can't even try to watch the fucking new Doctor Who.
oh yeah, we one of my bigger streams, like one of my first like really fun dork sides where everyone was like, "What the fuck," you know? When we were talking about that Christmas episode where David Tennant shows up and there's like a star child, some weird fluffy alien shows up, voiced by Miriam Margolyes, and we were like dissecting that show. People were blown away by how bizarre it was. And then the second episode came out and it was like, don't care. I don't care anymore. First episode was so insanely bad, but like second episode wasn't that bad. So I'm like, doesn't matter.
What? So you were just breaking down the episode of Doctor Who?
That one episode, yeah. And I remember I heard it was bad, and then I watched it, and I was like, holy shit! And then I showed it to a bunch of people who hadn't watched it, and we didn't watch it in full, but I was just going through stills, like, and then this happens, and they're like, get out of here. And I'm like, bro, read the subtitles. Like, that's literally what they're saying. And then this happens, and you're like, what? No way! That's a good one.
There's a lot of wild episodes of Doctor Who. Like, if you just jump straight into one of the weirder ones.
I did watch the Eccleston season. That was awesome. And I did watch the season with David Tennant, which was also really good. And I saw parts of the the guy with the weird head, Matt Smith. Yeah, I saw
he's my
caught
favorite.
glimpses of that one.
For sure. My favorite.
I think I like Tennant best. But Eccleston was great, man. I think he got enough love, man. I think he's also kind of he's the one who he was like Pierce Brosnan GoldenEye. Like he brought the franchise like into the kind of modern day, you know.
I have to show you this. I know this isn't gonna get hit. And honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore. Kevin, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go until I don't feel like going or people get tired of watching me, I guess. So this is like one of my favorite. Oh my god, I can't type at all. Christopher. Okay.
He won't be one of the top Christophers, right?
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. There he goes. Oh, they're hearing us.
Huh?
They're listening to our conversation.
I heard the woman doctor is the best doctor. Yeah.
No.
I wasn't even mad that the doctor was going to be a woman. I was just mad that it was shit. So,
yeah.
A little setup here. This was from about a year ago. All right. So the 60th anniversary came and neither one of them were in it. It's Billy Piper, so Rose, the original Rose, and Christopher Eccleston. The new Rose in the 60th was a trans half black woman, or fucking whatever. It was a dude. But yeah, so the new Rose is a dude, and Eccleston. So this interviewer asked him a question, and he gives the funniest fucking answer you would ever hear. And then this interviewer becomes the biggest bitch in the world. So there's the setup. I am like, you could never
60th
ask
anniversary
for
of the
a
show.
better fucking, like, if this dude had kept pushing him down this line, we would all know this guy's name. but he doesn't. He fucking cowards out, and he becomes the biggest bitch on the planet.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's
Acolyte
the
was
60th
the best Star Wars
anniversary of
ever.
the show
I'll stand by that.
this year, and like I said, people would love to see you both come back at some point. But Christopher, for you, your experience.
Only one person.
No, come on, everyone.
And that was my mother,
Guys, wouldn't you love
who's
to
over there
see-
with the beard.
Like, she knows him, so she's like, she's already like knows the kind of shit he's gonna pull. Because Christopher Eccleston left fucking Doctor Who. They wanted him to stay, but he was like, nah, fuck off, I'm out.
Mum, you need to shave.
You'd all love to see Christopher come back as the Doctor, right? See? Now, what would have to happen for that to become a reality?
Sack Russell T. Davis. Sack Jane Tranter.
Watch the interviewer.
Sack Phil Collinson. Sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back.
Like, even
So
her
can
face,
you arrange?
even she's like, God damn.
What's
And
even the
he's-
best is how this guy looks so disappointed. Not because he said that, because the audience like responded favorably to it. Woo! Fuck yeah! Fuck those people!
Well, they're at a Doctor Who event, right?
Of course.
And you have the like, God, right now he's handed an opportunity to just be the biggest fucking thing ever. But instead, watch what he does, man. It's so, joking or not, you've gone too far, pup. No, the Acolyte is the best Star Wars ever. 100%.
honestly,
I've
that
never
black
seen
chick-
anything that was funnier than the Acolyte.
That black chick is hot though. You know,
She
people
is
give it-
hot, and they make
People
her
give
look
it her
fucking
hate.
ugly.
I was like, I like her. She can say whatever she wants. Same thing with the new Little Mermaid. She's hot too. It's like, damn.
yeah, everyone posts all the ones where she looks fucking all like weird eyed.
I don't care. I don't care. The hypertelerism, it's growing on me, you know? Shit. And also the thing about what Jodie Whittaker is like, to answer, like, honestly, back what I was saying about like Scorpion, Wolverine, Boba Fett, the Doctor Who, these are cool characters with mysterious backstories. And then you explain the backstory and it fucking just ruins it. And Jodie Whittaker, it's like I said, no problem whatsoever with Doctor Who being a woman. I think it's cool. Like, yeah, why should the Doctor be a woman? But then you're gonna explain like what a Time Lord is.
Well, they
and
didn't
just have a
it wasn't just that. It was completely changing the entire backstory. It wasn't
Totally.
just explaining it. No,
right,
they
lore
completely
breaking
changed
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it.
Because you're nerds. He's like, like 60. It's on an episode so and so in 1975. It said that specifically
Yeah,
the Time Lord is Doc K. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't watch any of that shit, but it doesn't matter if you watched any of that shit. If you just watch from when Eccleston came back, which is when I started up with Doctor Who, because it was on Netflix. That's when Doctor Who really blew the fuck up.
Right.
It was on Netflix and everyone's like, "Ooh, what is this?" But yeah. So, but
I remember watching the first couple episodes and I'm like, oh, that's where that song's from. Doctor Who. Oh, okay. I've heard that song before in a bunch of fucking memes and shit.
yeah.
All right, let's see this guy be a little bitch.
All right. He said,
Did
"Sack
you
'em
find
all, and
it
I'll come back."
hard to be like associated with the character given?
Not at all. I love being associated with character. Just don't like being associated with those people and the politics that went on in the
Look at her
first
face.
series. The first series was a mess, and it wasn't to do with me or Billy. It was to do with the people who were supposed to make it, and it was a mess. And the first series.
One thing, when he says the politics of the show, he's not talking about people's actually politics, not their political leanings or anything. He's talking about how these people acted behind the scenes.
Yeah, and like the career movements and stuff, and the politics within the company, the studio. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Uncle
Backstabbers,
Martin?
bro.
Yeah.
Series of any show, Billy did Confessions of a
Cool girl.
First series, nobody wants to know. The BBC were like, we're going to keep a big distance from this. And then as soon as it was a success, they were all up close going,
Look at him
I was
fidgeting and
responsible
shit.
for
He's
that.
like, fuck,
But they
how do
were
I get out
all
of
like,
this? I got to get
at a
back to the
distance,
paper.
like, this
I
is
gotta
a
get back to
folly.
the paper.
Eccleston's folly. Piper's
letting him
folly.
say too much.
Russell
We gotta
T.
shut him up
Davis's
soon.
folly. And then when it worked, suddenly, oh yeah, I worked on that.
This
They
is
wouldn't come
backfiring
anywhere near us.
tremendously.
And then they jump on the bandwagon.
Dude,
Those kind of
could you
politics,
imagine
I'm
if
not
you
very
were
good
the
at
one
handling.
sitting there?
I can't swallow
Dude,
that shit.
This would be the best conversation ever.
I'd be awkwardly laughing right here if I was that girl.
Billy, would
I'd be
you
like, "Oh, shit."
ever return to the show if? there was
Well,
an
I've
offer?
returned a bunch of times.
Now, to be fair, I don't know if he was back. That guy was. I was expecting him to get catty or ask some weird questions. He was just kind of fidgeting and looking uncomfortable, like his bosses are gonna fucking not be happy with him.
Yeah, but
He was
fuck
like,
that. Who
"Fuck."
cares? Who cares? The like
Yeah.
the opportunity to, have
Right.
probably one of the best
See?
conversations ever jumped into your
Well,
lap.
I see. There's like a longer version of the same interview. I'm sure
There is, and I've watched the whole thing. He gets it away from there as fast as he can, and he never comes back.
Also,
and
when was this? Several
this
years
was
ago.
over a year ago.
Over a year ago. Not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he has come back to the Doctor Who franchise, but only in like audio form. The Big Finish stuff. When they asked him to come back to the 50th, he told them no,
Maybe
and that's why they brought in a new doctor called the War Doctor to take the place that they were gonna have him in, which wound up
see,
being
it'd
really
be cool.
good.
It'd be cool if like you had Eccleston come back and he was like, an alien and a bunch of makeup, playing a different character. That'd be fun. He doesn't necessarily have to be the Doctor again.
If I do join, currently I'm not doing content. Don't try to at or link me later. Yeah, man, whatever. It's up to you, man. If you don't want to join, that's fine. If you want to join, that's cool. Whatever. You're more than
If
welcome.
I come
to
on, it's gonna
always
be a one-time thing. Damn it! I don't want you bothering me every fucking week. Okay.
Well, no, I know. He's a little shy. That's all.
Kidding.
Which is fine. I understand completely.
Cool name.
I cannot say it.
Taletna.
Yeah, I think that's it. Taletna.
Maybe
But,
he'll come in and tell us how it's pronounced.
Oh,
Maybe the T is silence. Maybe it's Letna.
Letna.
Maybe it's Tetna.
Me. I always
Maybe it's-
overpronounce it. Talalala.
Maybe that's a capital I. And it's Tietna.
Tietna. No, he's told me it's an L, but I'm very shy but love talking with people. Yeah, man.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about RoboCop because the whole point of the stream was really, instead of talking about shit that pisses us off for once, just to talk about
Oh.
things that we really enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like-
can do that.
Cinevere was able to, bring up Overlord, which is a anime, which was fun to talk to her about. I wish I had.
There was that there's that fun was it JJ Abrams or something? It was like that Nazi zombie movie Overlord was fun. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It was fun.
yeah.
It was a cool gory zombie movie. Like the Nazis were doing an
Overlord.
experiment. Yeah, 2018. There you go.
That was-
Who made it? Someone. It was yeah. It's cool.
J.J. Abrams.
What's interesting though is produced by him. But what was interesting is my criticism was it could have been a good thing, could have been a bad thing, depending on who you ask, but like it is totally 100% serious. Like the Nazis are experimenting with zombies, and they're zombies. They're trapped in a bunker with a bunch of Nazi zombies, and it's bad. And there's like hardly any of that, like, you're expecting that kind of camp,
Yeah.
None of that's there. It is super grim and grisly. It was fun. I only brought it up because it's also called Overlord.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of good stuff this year, and it's getting no credit, no love, no attention. Like I watched The Assessment was really cool with what's her name? Vikander. She was in Tomb Raider and Ex Machina, and then Elizabeth Olsen, she's in it, and she's like never wearing a bra and her nipples are hard the whole movie.
Oh,
That's cool.
I like that. So
But,
yeah, Elizabeth Olsen. Let's see. Overview.
It's cool, dude. Yeah. In the not so distant future where parenthood is strictly basically you have to apply for a license to have kids. And before you get the license, an assessor shows up to your house and they assess you for a week, where they live with you and they basically do like crazy mind games and psychological torture to you and see if you're fit to be a parent. It's weird, dude. It's a cool little indie movie. It felt like an episode. It felt like a bonus episode of Black Mirror.
Okay. Yeah, I think
And
I heard you talking about it on your stream.
yeah. And
That
then there
was
was some other stuff this
deliriously
year that I watched earlier that was
sleepy.
cool. You know, I watched that Looney Tunes movie was fun.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh
Apparently
yeah,
you watched that.
yeah, that was terrible. It was actually the best of the dinosaur movies we've seen so far, though, which is bad. And dude, Prehysteria, we watched that. That's coming out this week. But Prehysteria was the worst. It was worse than Theodore Rex. It's fucking, oh boy. It's a kid's movie where the kid from the Last Action Hero finds a bunch of little baby dinosaurs and crazy hijinks happen. Not really. Not really. Just a lot of boring standing around.
Let me think. What's the last non-old, non-anime thing I watched?
Technically, I don't like to call this Netflix crap anime, but that Terminator shit was all right.
I didn't watch it.
It was all right. You know what? Terminator Zero, but you know what I do want to see is something called like Night of the Living Katu or whatever. Night of the Living Cat.
Oh, okay. So his Discord. Okay, so if that's your Discord name, all right, cool. Let me. AGG, add friend. I'm adding you as a friend. I didn't know what your name was. It's not in the voice chat. Kevin. What the fuck? I'm trying to think. I'm sure I watched something that wasn't anime and wasn't old. But I can't remember what it was because all right, so the last non-anime thing I did was I rewatched all of Stargate SG-1 all the way up until even the really bad seasons. And then I even watched through to the end of those. Because I'd never fully watched all the bad seasons. I get up to where MacGyver stops being in the show, and then I fucking just stop watching from there, usually.
Nice. Yeah, I'll go through a list of like all the stuff that I've watched like in the past few weeks, and like or not all the stuff I watched, but all the stuff I'd recommend. Like Novocaine was all right, wasn't great. Ash was cool. It was a Flying Lotus movie. He did Kuso. He's a big DJ. Flying Lotus. He's got a radio station on Grand Theft Auto. He's a big music producer. That was cool. Locked, where fucking Bill Skarsgård gets locked in Anthony Hopkins' supercar. That was all right. Woman in the Yard was okay. It was this dumb little horror movie. Something I did watch that was really fun was Psychotherapy with Steve Buscemi. That was cool. Steve Buscemi basically approaches this like struggling writer, tells him, it's like, hey, I got a great idea for your book. You know, it'd be about serial killers, and I'm gonna help you because I'm basically a retired serial killer, and I'm going to give you some lessons. And he's like, okay, that's weird. But then it gets complicated when his wife like finds out he's talking to this weird old guy, and he's like, oh, he's a counselor, and she thinks he's a marriage counselor. So it was kind of like The Ref with a serial killer instead of a robber. So if you haven't seen The Ref with Dennis Leary and Kevin Spacey, that's a really good Christmas movie.
Kevin, accept my friend request on Discord because
please,
where you're at isn't where the call is.
No, but you were talking about anime. There is an anime I want to see that's coming out called Night of the Living Cat. I don't understand anything. The trailer looks amazingly weird. It's apparently what's going on is like if there's a herd of cats like that's growing, and what they find out is if one of these cats touch you, you become a cat. It's like a plague of like people turning into cats. It's like, what the fuck? And the trailer is hilarious. Now, apparently, I'm finding out right now it's based on a book, a manga. But yeah, watch that top trailer right there.
I'm not going to watch any more anime on stream.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, to be fair, I have watched this trailer on my show. But yeah,
of the Living Cat,
dude,
is coming to country.
Yeah, if you, I mean, I pretty much told you what it's about. But when the guy is like announcing, it's all in Japanese, and then it's like they say the name of the show, and it's literally, I'm not even exaggerating, Night of the Living Cat, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, Japanese people, what is their deal?
All right, so this would be the last thing I watched, which is not even, it's not new at all.
Yeah.
It's a Warrior TV series. It was on, I guess Cinemax. But then it got canceled. In April 2021, the series was renewed for a third season. Okay, so it moved to HBO Max, and it went from being a cool action fucking show, and then like the third season just went fucking super hard, like woke. Like these, like the first two seasons are badass as fuck. Killing, sex, titties, everything. And then the third season comes in. It starts with like they add an openly gay mafia, because what it is it's a Chinese mafia in like the 1800s in San Francisco versus the Irish mafia in San Francisco at the same time, and it's pretty dope for sure.
Nice.
And then the third season is just like these super traditional Chinese mafia guys are just like super accepting of this like uh openly gay dude, and it's like no, they're not accepting of that shit now. They definitely weren't there.
Yeah.
Uh
One of the I think I don't watch a lot of shows, but a show I did watch that was badass, fucking was great, was because Scavenger's Reign was one of the best things I watched last year, and they made another animated show on Adult Swim called Common Side Effects. That shit was great. I totally recommend that. It was the guy who made Scavenger's Reign, Joe Bennett, and Mike Judge, and it's a show about a magic mushroom that cures anything, and pharmaceutical companies and government agencies and all this crazy shit gets involved. It's badass. Hello.
hello.
KGG's here.
Yeah, that should be Kevin, I hope. I don't know. Let's see.
Well,
No, I'm just a retired ninja.
Right. Right on.
I don't know who this Kevin person is.
Nice. Okay, let's see. How'd the stream go? The stream went great, thanks Discord, but I had to stop sharing my screen in order to make sure that this was working. Okay. And I can start sharing my screen again. So, happy birthday, buddy. Now, how do we say your name? Now that we finally got you on the phone. It's definitely not Kalalna.
Oh, it's pronounced Kevin.
Kevin. Okay. You spelled it very strangely.
No, it's Tletna, but just say Kevin.
Okay.
Tletna. No, the TL is together. It's one letter.
Kalalna. I don't know.
Tletna.
Kalalna is more fun. I'm not gonna lie.
No, so it's a fictional language. So when I was younger,
You're one of those guys, huh?
I like to start when I was younger. I liked to start writing stories or making gaming worlds, but then I'd never fully finish. And one of them had a here I'll I'll type it in your YouTube chat
Okay.
because you won't know the spelling if I just say it. But so it had a language based upon some dude's empire that was named after him. So he was Erlisle, and it's Erlilian. But really, it had some other name I forget. But he became the king, so that's what they named it after later. And in that language, there's really no consonants. So let me re-say that. There's no vowels. There are consonants, but there's no vowels. So a lot of the consonants will just be combined letters, just like how in some languages you'll have a combined TS, for example, like tsunami or something like that.
Or like Japanese.
Shang
Yeah.
Tsung.
Yeah, exactly. So although it sounds more, the language probably sounds more like something more like Russian or maybe I guess Klingon. But so there are vowel sounds, but there's no like actually vowels written. You know how like in a lot of Semitic languages, they don't really write the vowels. The vowels are implied by the consonants.
Ah,
So it's pretty much
I
like that.
I don't
I
know
used to
if
play-
you've
I used to
heard
play-
me stream at all, but if you have, you would know that I'm not smart enough to understand what you're talking about.
No, dude, I used to play bass in a band called Implied Vowels.
Nice. And Pop,
You're joking, right?
I am joking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pop, you should definitely go. I think you should go full underwear, but I don't know. If you're gonna do it in the underwear, you should definitely put a camera on. I want to see that. I thought it was pronounced Tlaun. Yeah, that's how I say it. Pup.
It's pronounced Chimera.
Chimera. No, that's cool, man. One of the things I always have trouble with, because I actually do mess around with stories, no pants, is fucking names, man. So it like part of me, because I watch way too much fucking anime, is I will have names that are mixtures of Japanese sounding shit and then like European stuff, and it never works, and I always forget it. So like breaking down stories, if I ever write anything down, I wind up with pages and pages and pages of notes just on characters' names, and then I'm like, you know what, fuck this, and then I just stop. So it is very difficult for me for the names, because I can't remember normal people's names. Oh, and I just looked through my Amazon stuff. The last show I watched was House of the Dragon. It wasn't either old or anime.
Yeah, definitely watch Common Side Effects. I would totally recommend it. And it's short. You can watch the whole thing in like 3 or 4 hours or some nonsense like that.
Side
Good. Real good.
Okay. Oh, it's the magic mushroom one.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny too. It's a great balance between like, comedy and drama.
Okay.
Really good. And like the Mike Judge parts, like Mike Judge plays a few characters in it. It's one of those things where like there's a lot of crazy shit happening, but everybody's saying like a lot of funny stuff, Like it's just a weird, fun, trippy show. It's one of those shows where once you start watching it, it's like it's hard to stop.
And what is that? Where can it? Let's see. Watch
Max. So it's on Max
on... Okay.
or
Nice.
because it's Adult Swim or whatever. So yeah,
Okay.
dope.
check it out.
I'm trying to think of some other good movies I watched. Like I said, I
Hello,
did
Miss
like Killers.
Sparkles. How are you tonight?
Sparkles is here. She's live right now.
Oh. She's live?
She's live on a show.
I didn't know that
She's
streamed.
chatting from a stream. I think she's a guest on some gentleman's stream. I just scoped it out. She was like, "I'm streaming." I'm like, "Me too." Apparently, I'm on Discord.
Let's see. Oh, that's why I can't, because you can't actually click on people from that. No, how the fuck you?
So, John, what
What's up,
did you end up?
Kenneth?
It's not her name.
What did you end up doing on your actual birthday?
On my birthday, I was working.
Working?
And yeah, I worked. So Mondays I drive out to California at like midnight. So it's like a 4.5 hour drive. And then I go straight to work from there. I work 10 hours and then I go back to the hotel. I call my kids and say hello to them. And then
then you
I
go
go to
back
bed.
Thursday.
I go to sleep. Yeah, and then
Ooh.
hold on.
Go ahead.
What's up?
I remember a couple other good stuff I watched. Black
Oh,
Bag was
okay.
fun. Steven Soderbergh, like spy movie. But dude, I watched something called The Rule of Jenny Pen. That shit was awesome. Jeffrey Rush is like a judge in New Zealand, and he has a stroke, and he gets sent to an old folks home, and he's under this idea that he's going to, get better, get out of there, and He meanwhile, John Lithgow is one of the other guests at this retirement home, and he is insane, and he terrorizes all the other fucking old people that live there.
John
Holy
Lithgow
shit, it
is?
was crazy. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
John Lithgow.
And what's also great about John Lithgow, and they don't do this in a lot of movies, is they really used his size because he's a huge guy. He's like 6'4", you know, he's a big guy. So like, it's really creepy when Jeffrey Rush wakes up and he's just like sitting in a chair in his room, and he has this little doll that it's like a little puppet he uses, and her name is Jenny Penn, and she runs the joint. And he makes people, he says like, who rules this place? And they'll be like, Jenny Penn. He's like, now kiss her asshole. And he makes them lick his wrist, like the back of his wrist.
What is this
It's like
called?
The Rule of Jenny Penn, some New Zealand movie with Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow killing it, dude. It was twisted. This movie was hard recommend.
I am going to
recommend.
risk the fucking...
Do it. Do it.
You know what?
I show trailers all the time. It's not anime. I think you'll be all right.
All right, let's see. I love John Lithgow.
Dude, Henry and the Hendersons is one of my favorites.
Henry and the Hendersons. Wasn't he in Third Rock from the Sun too?
Yeah. He's great in that. I love him as the bad guy in Cliffhanger. Dude, he's so good in Cliffhanger.
Dude, he can be super creepy.
He's fucking amazing.
Aren't they looking at him to be Dumbledore, or is that somebody else?
No, yeah, he's gonna be Dumbledore.
Fuck, dude. He's
what
old
else
as
is he
shit,
really-
but
He's
God,
also
is he so
great
good.
in Footloose, Buckaroo Banzai. He's in so many good ones, dude.
So, what did you do for your birthday today, Kevin? Other than hang out with us?
I pretty much just I don't know. I watched some stuff and then went to sleep. I kind of have a messed up sleep schedule.
So do all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm here so late, because when I can get sleep, I just try to get it. So
Yeah, that's one thing that I kind of like about the hotel. I mean, it's super lonely when you go from a house of 5 people, other than yourself, because I got the 4 kids and the wife, to an empty hotel room. It is almost unnervingly quiet. And then I lay on the bed and I'm like, nobody's asking me for stuff. This is the best day ever. And then after like the second day of that, I'm like, this is so boring. Like, how does this work? How do normal people do this? It's so weird. But actually, like, being able to go to sleep and not like have to worry about, something. But then I start feeling guilty because I'm like, oh, the wife's got to do all that shit now by herself. But yeah.
But anyway,
So what's your advice then,
I
John?
love
Just
hotels.
have kids and then run away from them, or?
No, not that. Definitely not that. I have
I don't have kids, so it has nothing to do with my insomnia.
nice. You could poop
dude,
with the bathroom door wide open.
I love motels. Hotels are cool and all, and I stayed in a hotel a couple weeks ago. But motels, dude, I love motels, especially like when they're really weird and shitty. But I just love the idea that you're. I don't like it when your room door leads to like a hallway, which leads to a lobby. I want my hotel door to lead to a parking lot. I want just direct access to my room. I don't want to have to walk through some bullshit. Motels are great. I mean, obviously you don't get the continental breakfast at motels and stuff.
Well, I don't
But
get
I don't
that
know.
because I go to work too early for the breakfast. I go to
Too
work
early for the breakfast. Usually the breakfast is like from like 6 to 9 a.m. or something.
It's 6:30 a.m. and I start work at
Oh.
6. So, I mean, I'm the boss. I could just be like, fuck it, I'm going to be late. But I would never do that because, one, how are you going to lead people if you're setting an example like that? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
demand other people to be on time, but you're going to just fuck off to the hotel to get breakfast? No, that's a shitbag behavior. But the hotel I'm staying in is really nice, and I would never stay in one that costs this much money if the company wasn't paying for it. When they're like, yeah, this is a hotel. I drove like because they didn't give me the hotel name. They gave me a pinned like Google
Address,
Map thing, right? So it was like fucking coordinates, and I drove past it because I was like, oh no, it's definitely not that one. And I'm like looking for like a shitty fucking hotel because why would they spend that much money on a place I'm only gonna be at to sleep? And then I called the guy who's paying for it. And I'm like, hey man, like all I see right here is this hotel. And he's like, yeah, no, that's the one. And then I go and it's not like a shitty room, it's a suite. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, part of me wants to be like, hey man, can you put the money you spend on the hotel on my check and I'll just get my own room? I'll sleep in a
Yeah.
fucking car for a couple of weeks and just pocket the money for the night. Like I didn't
Right.
like I have been a degenerate drug addict in the past. Like I can sleep damn near anywhere. You know what I mean? Like I just park the car on the job site and go to sleep. It's in Anaheim, California. So it's like 60 degrees at night, like even, lower. Like it's really nice. So, but yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I've done that. I've done that before. You could do that.
Well, yeah.
Dude,
Well,
I
they're not giving me money to pay for the hotel. They're just paying for the hotel. So it's like, and
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucked up if they were giving you a bunch of money for hotels and found out you were just sleeping in your car. Like I got a Yukon, dude. I totally just can't. I camp in my car all the time. I'm gonna go camp in
No,
my
you
car this weekend.
no, you gotta tell the hotel staff to just reroute some of the money to you, and then take a smaller room or something.
well, my immediate boss, the one who hired me for this, is also
Yeah.
staying in that hotel.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, yeah, it'd be kind of hard.
So you can't change to some closet room and pocket the
No,
rest.
no, it would just go back. Yeah, it would just make me look like a total asshole. All right, so I already really want to watch this fucking movie. Holy shit!
Cool.
The Rule of Ginny Pin. Dude, that's creepy as fuck.
Hey, John, I had a follow-up question.
Yeah, go for it.
So now that you're at home, what did you end up doing
I just hung
with
out
your
with the
family
kids.
for your birthday?
Nothing. Just fucking.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we had cupcakes with my mom last weekend, and I just hung out with the kids today. I was gonna do a stream early in the morning, and then like last night, I was like, the wife's sick. I only get so much time with the kids, so I figured I'd just hang out with them. So we just hung out. We've been watching Doctor Who episodes. So that's what we did. We just hung out, watched some shows together until they're like, okay, that's enough. We're gonna go be children now, and they ran off. So then I just hung out with the little autistic kid. He,
hmm
played with him as he runs around making weird noises.
Which one was that? What was his name?
Oh yeah, I don't throw my kids' names out on the
Oh,
internet.
you don't. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
no.
Your kids' privacy. I forgot.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fun having kids, but yeah, I don't. There's anything about me I have no problem talking about, but the kids, they're kids, so let them be kids. Yeah. Let's
Oh,
see.
okay.
Motels are too nasty. I don't know about that. It depends, what you're. If I was paying for it, I definitely wouldn't pay for this room I'm at. But let's see. Alrighty.
Then I'm gone.
So is this just like it's just an old person's
Stay
home?
clear of that lot over there.
Yep.
They're nuts. Give them toys to play with like children.
Okay, one of the best movies I've seen this year, Stephen King. I don't trust Stephen King's opinion on movies. I really don't. He hated The Shining. He fucking thinks it's a terrible movie. So, yeah, I don't trust Stephen King's opinion on movies. But this is already. I mean, we're a minute into it, and I want to fucking watch this for sure.
What's going to happen is you'll get worse and worse till you can't speak or even lift a finger. But that's if you can still think straight enough to know what kind of hell you're in.
What the fuck, dude? This is setting such a tone of just creepiness.
My whole life, I've been so bored. But time, it seems.
Dude, I almost want to turn my fucking camera on. You know what? I'm gonna turn my camera on just so everyone can see. No, camera.
Or are you gonna share it on YouTube though? Like, cause you still have to do that.
Huh? Hello?
How do you share? Like, yeah, I can hear you. Can you share it on YouTube?
Yeah,
You're- you're-
I can share my camera on YouTube, but I just turned it on and it didn't come on, which is weird. That's very strange. Camera should always be. Oh, okay, I see why. Because I'm just sitting here with like one of the dumbest looks I've ever had on my face. I know I am. All right, there we go. Yeah, no, I can share my camera. I can't really share your guys's.
I see what you're saying.
Okay,
Go for it.
All right, there, it's on now.
Has awarded me certain advantages. Be a waste not to honor that, don't you think?
What the fuck?
He's the menace here. He's been at me from the jump.
Jeffrey Rush is just as good as John Lithgow in this one, dude. They're both awesome.
I know. How come? See, this is the thing. You never hear about these fucking movies. They're like, this looks amazing. I've never heard anybody talk about this at all. There's all these YouTube channels that I watch or listen to. They have millions of subscribers. Like, this sounds like something that the Critical Drinker would be all over. But I guess maybe.
Well, here's the thing that these fuckers do is they know the stuff that's going to be terrible, and they shit on it. And if it's not terrible, they'll say something like, like, I didn't watch Daredevil, but like they're saying like, oh, Daredevil, it would, I don't know. They just kind of say, oh, well, we didn't say it was going to fail. I don't know. The other thing that they do though is when something's good, like they'll wait a while to kind of see other people say it's good. Like they want to gauge the audience. And if the audience says it's good, then they'll come out and say a post like, hey, Sinners was good. And then they don't do any kind of, they'll do like a 5-minute video about it. Tops, hey, I saw this, it was good. But usually it's just like a little post or a tweet.
Yeah.
But then we're going to, even if it is good, like we'll mention it once on a live stream and then it'll be more hours of like Star Wars grape on Andor, like it's just like, oh my God.
I mean, I also like the Critical Drinker, and I think he's fun. But I've just stopped watching a lot of the channels that I've been really into. One, because I've been like, as I create more YouTube content, I'm actually more interested in like smaller creators because it's more fun, I think, in some of their chats.
Yeah,
when there's over 1,000 people in chat, I'm not chatting.
Yeah.
Just
there's exactly. There's a fondness of it. Like I do watch a lot of these live streams after the fact, double speed,
Yeah.
Like I watch all the EVS's streams, those things are hilarious. That guy's hilarious.
And I stopped watching Friday Night Tights when Shad came on board.
Shad's fucking annoying, bro. And
he's the cringiest motherfucker. Like,
I don't even really watch Friday Night Tights either, and I didn't watch it before Shad came on, but I see Shad's like AI posts, and I want to fucking strangle him. I'm like, what the is like, like you went to Subway, did you make the Subway sandwich? Like, no, someone else made it for you. They just told it what to do, and even then, it's like, all right.
Well,
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of AI. I love AI, and I think it's here to stay. But like,
I think it's a
even
fun
I'm like,
tool.
Shad,
but
shut up. Yeah.
Don't try to pretend like you're a creator.
I'm the best.
Yeah. So
fucking amazing,
dude. His book is hilariously bad. It is so.
Oh yeah,
terrible.
Mike S. Miller's a fucking twat, bro.
Stanley Kubrick literally said in an interview when they asked him why he wanted to make The Shining, I wanted to see if I could make a bad book into a good movie. And Stephen King didn't
Yeah.
hate The Shining because it was a bad movie. He hated it because it was faithful to his novel. His novels are weird, dude. And I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you.
They're written by cocaine.
Yeah. I've read a lot of Stephen King. If you ever go to jail, you'll find two authors are really, really like all over the place in jails. Stephen King and Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
And Tom Clancy's Without Remorse is a fucking fantastic book. I highly recommend that to everyone if you like any kind of suspense books. That's really good.
Nice.
But hold on, I want to
Yeah,
finish
Stephen
this.
King. My favorite is Misery because that was about his withdrawal, addiction to cocaine. You know.
Yeah.
Around no line.
Sorry, I want to finish this real quick.
Hyenas roar. Enjoy your hidey hole.
Who rules? Jimmy Penn.
That's right.
We don't stop playing because we get old.
Oh my
We get
god.
old because we.
All right, I don't even actually. I don't want to watch anymore. I want
We
to
get
watch the
old because
movie.
we stop playing. Yeah, he's so.
Dude, that fucking The Rule of Ginny Penn. Holy shit, dude.
Dude, the assessment was also really good too, man. I bet you if you'd watch the
Was
trailer,
it?
you'd be like, "Oh, I see what's going on here. This is fucking crazy." Watch them both.
Nice.
What else did I watch? I watched some other cool shit. I watched some stuff that was all right. Oh, dude. Let's see. Oh, I watched a really good anime movie called Ghost Cat Anzu. That shit was awesome. It was so funny. You know, I normally, Asian humor is like hit or miss with me, but Ghost Cat Anzu was really cool. And for some reason, the version I watched was in French, and I still liked it a lot. But I imagine the Japanese version would also be equally funny. But yeah, really great animation, really weird story. He's a ghost cat, he's like the shrine cat, and he's this little girl separated from her dad. It's just it was a fun little Spirited Away-esque kind of movie, but just very funny.
Nice. What about
Yeah,
you,
and then
Kevin? What's sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. No, you go ahead, Kevin.
I was gonna ask Kevin what of his favorite things that he's been into.
Oh, that'd take a lot of time to talk about, even though I don't really do much lately. But I was gonna comment on the horror theme. Has anyone seen or read The Stand?
I
course.
have read The Stand.
Oh, you've read it? Is it worth reading? I only saw the movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about Stephen King books. They kind of. Okay, so The Stand, if I remember correctly, post-pop. Yeah, okay. So, one of the things that I really liked about the Stand book was how one of the guys who thinks, like, you think he's, I don't even want to fucking spoil it, but I guess if you've seen the movie, I don't know. But like in the book, this the like one of the main characters who seems like he's gonna be a protagonist actually turns into like being, one of the evil ones. But he's very smart in all of his actions. And then things just kind of go fucking off the rails as it goes on. I'm trying to remember all of it. I haven't read it in probably 20 years. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask if the ending of the book was as crazy as the ending of the movie, but
I seriously can't remember. Which movie are we talking about? The Stand.
The Stand.
Yeah, but which one? Because there's the I think it's a sci-fi.
Yeah, the 90s one with
miniseries.
Rob Lowe. Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were a bunch of different ones.
There's two. I think there was a newer one from a few years back.
No, I don't mean a few years back. It would have been older than that.
Okay, so there's a 1994 movie, The Stand.
Probably that one then.
Yeah, it has Rob Lowe, Jeremy Sheridan, Gary Sinise.
It's very, very dark, very brutal at points.
Yeah, I do remember the book was that as well. I used to really like the because like Stephen King would do the sci-fi miniseries back in the day, and then they would show on what channel was that? The same channel that had Wings on it, and they would have a lot of the same actors. USA, yeah, and then they would have a lot of the same actors from Wings, the show. I don't know Wings. Oh, fucking okay, yeah, Google. I don't blame you on that one.
In an airport or something, right?
Yeah. Wings TV series. All right. So it would have this guy right here. I don't know if I'm still sharing my stream to you guys.
You are.
It would have this guy.
Steven Weber.
Cast. Yeah.
Steven Weber.
So he would be in a bunch of these.
Really?
Yeah. Let me.
Dude, he's great in Sour Grapes and Dracula Dead and Loving It. What else is he in?
Writers cast.
I mean, I know who Steven Weber is. I didn't know he was in a bunch of USA stuff.
Is it Weber or Weber?
You know, that's a great question. Moving on. No, I have no idea. Okay. Why the fuck would you think I want photos? I clicked on the dude's name. Show me his. Dude, IMDb is shit. All right. I'm just
Scroll
gonna
farther. Scroll farther.
Known for. So he was in The Shining.
Yeah.
The Stephen King.
The Sci-Fi Channel version or whatever it was.
Yeah. I feel like he was also in some other stuff that was Stephen King related. I might just be fucked up in my head though, because I'm like, seriously have some sort of brain damage from all the drugs I took before I stopped doing drugs. Okay. Movies and shows. All right. So he's in The Shining. You know what? Let's just do this. Steven Weber. Stephen King. Wait, did he narrate Stephen King books as well? Huh. No, I don't know. Okay, maybe he was only in the one thing. But I seriously remember him being in more than one thing. Okay. He in the 1990 of The Shining. So yeah, he was in The Shining. He played Steve in the 2000 of Desperation, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Okay, so he was in more than one thing for Stephen King. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, I remember him being in a bunch of different things. Maybe it was just he was in a bunch of things for sci-fi in general.
I always thought of him as a sitcom actor. I didn't know he did a bunch of Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, single white female. Sour Grapes, dude. That movie's funny as hell. That's Larry David. Larry David made that movie.
He was in Reefer Madness 2005. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was a fun.
Dude, Larry David is a fantastic writer.
So Sour Grapes is about him, Steven Weber. He's like a doctor, and his cousin, who's like works at a shoe company, makes less money. His cousin's played by Craig Bierko. He was the bad guy in fucking Long Kiss Goodnight and a bunch of other stuff. But they're cousins. They go to like Atlantic City. They're gonna go with the wives. They're gonna go gamble. And Craig Bierko asked Steven Weber to borrow like a couple tokens, and he uses those tokens to play a slot machine, and he wins like $86,000 or some bullshit. And it just like it totally fractures them from that. It's one of those things where it just gets like the situation gets like worse and stupider as it goes on. When the movie's over, it's like Craig Bierko's mom, Steven Weber's aunt, has like a house filled with homeless people that are all like living in it for free, and one of the guys loses a testicle, and dude, it's insane. It's just so funny.
Yeah, this is actually making me want to re-listen to The Stand because I do remember some things about it. Like, okay, so one of the things I remember is it's a big book. The one I read would have been the 823 page one, but like as they're trying to escape from the apocalypse thing, he gets a motorcycle, but he wants the motorcycle because you can get uh like better gas mileage, and gas is hard to come by. But then whenever he gets to a gas station, he needs to figure out how to manually pump gas out of the ground reservoir. So he sets all that up, and then like he is with a girl who I think is, eventually she's on the good side and Randall winds up being on the bad side. But he's kind of like, if he was it's one of the stories where it feels like if he was hotter, if he looked like the main character, then he probably would have been a good guy, but he's kind of like a fucking greasy fat dude and kind of a nerd. So he gets the main character girl all the way to salvation, and then she kind of falls in love with a hot dude, and he kind of like, he's like, you know what, fuck this shit, and he joins the bad guys. That might be the worst summary of the Stand book in the history of summaries of books, but that's what I remember of it. And I just remember how smart that character was in the books and how I was like, oh shit. Like, because a lot of Stephen King books are kind of like, I read Cujo and it bored me to fucking tears because he spends more time describing the inside of the Pinto than anything else. But, so the Stand movie, was that one of your favorites, Kevin? Sorry, kind of got off topic. That happens.
No, you guys were talking about horror, so I just was trying to stay on theme. It's one of the ones that I very vaguely remember anything from my childhood, but I remember parts of The Stand because it was so creepy and brutal. There was this one scene where one of the female characters is being pretty much dominated. Well, is it okay to do spoilers or no?
Yeah,
Doesn't anyone care?
if you haven't read the book or watched the movie and you care about it, I guess I don't know what to tell you, but
Yeah,
we're talking about
don't
things.
don't listen.
Yeah,
Don't listen
spoiler.
for a couple of minutes. So one of the I forget if she was the main one or just one of the main ones, but one of the important female characters in the movie is being, I don't know, something in between seduced and bullied by Satan, and she doesn't want to go to the dark side or to give him any useful information, so she just pretty much takes her own head and slams it against a broken window pane.
Nice.
It just kills herself, and that was one, and that was a suicide. That wasn't even necessarily the worst death in the movie, but it's the one I remember because it was so brutally done, and she did it to herself. So is kind of like, it wasn't a suicide because she was crazy or because she was dying of some terminal disease, but because she didn't want to go over to like literally become a slave to evil.
Yeah,
So
no,
I,
that
I don't I, I don't know if the movie did the book justice with that.
uh
So
yeah, I honestly I can't remember enough to know. But if it's the 1994 one, then
yeah,
it's probably fairly faithful, as much as it can be condensing a book that big down into a movie, because you can't, like, they're gonna a book that size, that's almost as big as the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know what I mean? It's only a couple
yeah,
hundred pages away from all three of the Lord of the Rings books. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So they
Hmm.
would it would be, to do it justice, it would be like 6 hours long. Event Horizon. I have seen it, but again, this was back when I was doing drugs. I haven't seen it since I've been sober, which means my recollection of it is all fucked up. I do know that Event Horizon has a bunch of um uh cut content, we should say, where like, didn't the director uh cut scenes, early deleted scenes, didn't the director hire like a bunch of fucking porn stars and shit? uh
No way, really?
was abandoned and instead a special duty when deleted scene to extended scene.
Well, that'd be cool.
Let's see. Cut Elsie. Yeah, like, apparently this movie was a fucking crazy ass thing. It's such a shame we'll never see. Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I'm going off of partially Miller's Hell Weird, Miller's experience. Yeah, because it, like, apparently from what I remember, and this is just videos I've seen on the topic. I've heard the drinker talk about it, but it was like an insane amount of just crazy stuff that you can't wait. Let's see. Don't think so. Lawrence Fishburne is in it. Maybe that's not. All right. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. Pup saying
What are you thinking of? I was checking on the
Event
cat.
Horizon.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne's in that one.
Uh,
It's a great one.
why you don't see porn stars in Event Horizon? Okay.
Yeah, because they made a bunch of super obscene scenes of the hell stuff, and that stuff was left on the cutting room floor.
With
They hired
amputees and porn
yeah,
actors.
yeah,
Like they went hard for the hell scenes.
What's it?
Was supposed to shock the world. Porn actors and amputees, blood and scenes straight from hell. Event Horizon was supposed to be the successor to the science fiction hit Alien, simply with more blood and the best film technology that 1997 had to offer. Um, let's see. Cinema goers instead saw a rather confusing science fiction film that was almost completely devoid of horror. Flashing images of carnage suggest more. However, the film did not resemble the advertised work of art. Film fans asked questions and search for clues led them to the salt mine in Transylvania. What the fuck? At the beginning of the film's production, director Paul W.S. Anderson had just finished shooting Mortal Kombat. Oh, I fucking love that movie. It's so bad, but I love it. The film, based on extremely violent video game, does without a drop of blood. Now, Anderson wanted to make a film that was really violent. In Event Horizon, he wanted to tell a story of how a group of astronauts in the near future find the gateway to hell in the vastness of space and the remains of the crew of another ship. The team around Anderson and production designer Joseph Bennett spared no effort in the production design. Every detail was considered. One example, the astronauts carry flags that are unrivaled in the world. The U.S. flag has 55 stars. EU flag is 22. The Union Jack has disappeared from the Australian standard, and the Aboriginal flag has taken its place. In this way, the filmmakers created a world that was intended to seem alive and believable, to provide references to things outside the spaceship. Of course, they wanted to get blood flowing in the horror scene since everything that makes people uncomfortable happens in hell. It was clear that it was going to be ugly. Anderson shot scenes in which porn actors get down to business covered in blood, scenes in which amputees wearing makeup crawl around on the floor and scream, demons that spoil the afterlife for the inmates of hell. Then the test screening, the decision makers at Paramount are sitting in a cinema auditorium. They watch the finished film, 130 minutes of horror, space guts, blood and missing limbs, sex and depravity. The studio bosses are shocked. They are disgusted by the violence, the sex, and the raw impudence with which Anderson has staged it all. A test audience confirms this. They also find that it all goes massively against their morals. The studio pulls the emergency brake. Paul, shorten the film by 30 minutes and make it less gory. Anderson agrees. The film flops. In the finished film, the elaborate sets of hell can only be seen in short flashing sequences. Gone are the porn actors and the many of the amputees. Hell is more of an idea than something you see on screen. Horror fans, however, have long since paused their VHS tapes where a demon shows Lawrence Fishburne visions of hell and see the elaborate sets. The frames of nudity and the practical effects were litters of blood flow. Where liters. Reading is hard. Where liters of blood flow. There's more. But the story of hell scenes is leaking out. Over the years, the flop becomes a cult hit. Anderson saw the film as his best work, as did his fans, but above all, they see a film that no longer exists. Or do they? 20 years pass off the... Fuck me. This is a good article. Most of the time, you click on an article on a website, and they have like a couple of sentences, and they're like, fucking, that's it. Just a bunch of bullshit. But this is actually well written. But one of the problems is it's kind of long. 20 years pass after the flop before an incredible story comes to light. 1 year after the film's flop, Anderson was approached by Paramount head of production, Event Horizon. Incorrectly, the studio now want to show the long version of the film. Got on a plane and traveled around the world to find footage they thought was lost and incorporated into a longer cut. They find snippets of the film in every corner. Among them is a complete version of the film, of the original cut, in an abandoned salt mine in Transylvania. What kind of story is this? This is crazy. I want to see this movie where they go around trying to put back together Event Horizon. However, the film has not been digitally archived. Therefore, the film reels and VHS tapes that Anderson and Bolt find are either incomplete or have been stored incorrectly. In the age of DVDs, this would not be a problem, as film lovers appreciate deleted scenes as an extra. Some scenes can now be reconstructed and find their way into public domain. Scene from hell that resembles the one in the finished film, but is far more brutal. Age restricted. VHS cassette from 2012. Was in possession of a video cassette on which the original cut can be seen. The hearts of film fans beats faster. So, film is archived cult status. Nope. So you can't watch the original. Long story short. But it's a super interesting story. That dude went hard. And it's funny that we circle back around to Paul W. Anderson.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about him and
his hot wife.
His hot wife earlier. Yeah. Let's see. That's another... Wait. Let's see. Oh, the Dead Space games. Yeah, I played 1. I haven't played 2. I have to get around to playing Dead Space 2 at some point. I heard Dead Space 3 got absolutely shafted by EA. I'm glad they cut the gore. Gore isn't scary. Yeah. Um, it's funny. One of the best horror movies I think I've watched, and it is quite gory, I'm not gonna lie. Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, that was good.
I really enjoyed that movie. And it's another one that you don't really hear anybody talk about. But so at first I thought it was like an alternate universe. Uh, but because it doesn't make sense, especially if you watch the TV show with what is it?
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah, Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You're like, how could these two worlds coexist? Because shit goes bananas in Ash versus the Evil Dead. Like, there's dead walkers everywhere. So none of that could exist with this movie with no one knowing what anything is. But if you suspend that disbelief and just pretend like the show didn't happen, so they have Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead.
Yeah, so there's Evil Dead.
Evil Dead broke the record for most fake blood used in a movie. They keep breaking the records, and I think Evil Dead Rise got pretty close, but yeah, Evil Dead 2003. What was it? 2009. When did Evil Dead come out? Just put 20. Put 20 in there. No, I'm talking about the remake, Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, it like rains blood at the end, dude. It's super rowdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently in those movies, there's like 3 Necronomicons.
Yeah.
So
and you
there's
see
going to be a third movie.
In the Army of Darkness.
There's 3? I thought there was just 1. There's 3?
No, like it's kind of like, not the Army of Darkness. Like I said, how there's 3 Necronomicons. You got to choose the right one.
Yeah, it's Army of Darkness. So, all right. So I actually watched a cool documentary about this. I wonder if I could find it. I'll link it if I can. But because whenever I find something I like, I go hard. But so the original Evil Dead, that was made by what's his name? Evil Dead, Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Him and what's the guy who plays Ash?
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bruce Campbell.
They own the movie, right? And they basically borrowed money from fucking local people. They made it for nothing. But they got kind of bullshitted with the $350,000 is how much the first movie cost. But they got shafted with their release with the production company. Who was it? Lionsgate? Production. No, let's just do that. They'll tell us. Overview. Production companies. Okay. Could this be New Line Cinema? All right, that's who it was. So they got shafted by New Line Cinema, and they could not release Evil Dead 2 with the same shit that they had from Evil Dead 1. So that's why if you watch the first one and then you watch the second one, there's shit that doesn't make sense because they had to change enough stuff to actually be able to make
it's like a requel.
And
oh, really?
They had to reshoot because there's a recap of the first one at the beginning of the second one, and it has different actors in it, and it has a slightly different backstory because they had to in order to go with it, and they weren't even supposed to use the name Evil Dead, but they said fuck you and they did it anyways. So then,
that's why there were differences. Okay.
Yeah. And then whenever Army of Darkness came out, the company that came on to do it is forced them to change the name from Evil Dead 3 because they were in lawsuits and stuff over Evil Dead 2 to Army of Darkness. And that's why
they were going to call it Medieval Dead, but
yeah,
went harder.
And
Medieval Dead would have been cool.
that would have been pretty dope. But they were tied up in legal battles, so they couldn't. So they had to change it. So they changed it to Army of Darkness. Now in Army of Darkness, they show the 3 Necronomicons, right? So then if you go to the Evil Dead 2013, I thought this was a reboot, right? Because it seems like
No.
it's a reboot. It is not a reboot.
Yeah.
This is a movie showing one of the other Necronomicons, right? So it is.
They show
new story.
Bruce Campbell's old beater car at the cabin in the beginning of this one.
Yeah,
You know,
but
the
it's
idea that it's the same cabin years later. You know.
yeah, but it is a different Necronomicon. It is not the same one that he was dealing with, and they actually show Necronomicon. Okay. Let's see. So this is the one from the 2013 Necronomicon, right? But the one from Bruce Campbell's looks like this. And then the one that you get in Evil Dead Rise is a different one altogether. Oh, why did I fucking delete that word? So it's a completely different one again. And oh, hello, Heem. Hi, we're talking about some of my favorite movies. Nice. Awesome. My headcanon why the stories are slightly different every film is because Ash is going slightly insane due to constant exposure to demonic magic. That is a cool headcanon. I like that. But hello, Heem. You are welcome to join us too if you want to. I think you're at work though. So, but I'm happy you're here. But this movie, Evil Dead Rise, I was not, because I watched Evil Dead and I thought it was a reboot, and I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Fuck
See,
you.
I actually liked Evil Dead a lot, the remake, because it was
And,
like, we're going to
well-
do it totally serious and totally scary. And I was like, that's cool. But this one was great. And this one, what this one had going for it was the contacts they used were, they didn't use contacts. They had CGI eyes. So like
Yeah.
the Deadites, their eyes were just awesome looking. Like I thought that was one of my criticisms of the Evil Dead remake was, the contact. They all had Darth Maul contacts, you know, and it was just like, you know. But there was a lot of great stuff in the Evil Dead remake. I like how they was like, oh, it's also like this girl's getting clean off of drugs, so that right
Yeah.
there is like the excuse. You know, that's a great plot mechanism. You know.
One of the things, all right, Pup, have a good night, buddy. There's also opposite theory that his eyes are slowly
Good night,
being
Pup.
opened more to what reality really is. You're on the stream. You can say things.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you guys, so
I'm not in whatever server you're having the VC. Oh, I can just add you if you want to. It's a voice or fucking DM call. Let me know if you want to join, team. I'll add you.
I was gonna say about Pup's gore comment. I don't really think I agree fully. I think it depends on how the gore is set up, like the setting and the situation and in the story. You know,
Yeah.
I've definitely been scared by gore before, and then other times it makes me laugh.
Right?
So, yeah. So.
Yeah. Terrifier was the gore was hilarious. I remember as an audience full of kids, and everyone was laughing at Terrifier 3.
Still haven't seen that.
Martyrs is not. That is hardcore scary gore. Like skinning a woman alive. You know,
Hello.
it's like whoa, dude.
All right, so one thing that I will say about trailers today that really fucking pisses me off, it's
Give away
2
everything?
minutes and 32 seconds. It's too long. It's too much. They show too much. You know, I believe that about almost
I
all
agree.
trailers. But I went in cold to this movie because I sometimes I get on a kick, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch every episode of Stargate SG-1. And then that keeps me busy for a long time. Or
Oh,
I'm going to
wow.
watch Star Trek The Next Generation, whatever. Because I've just there's just too many bad things to watch,
Yeah,
so I just go back and watch
when
good
I
ones.
first started watching Breaking Bad, I didn't want to watch anything else until I finished that one, and then I did Better Call Saul.
Yeah, there you go. Um, but so I watched Evil Dead, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! And then I watched Evil Dead
Mhm.
2, and I was like, hell yeah! And then I watched Army of Darkness, and then I watched Evil Dead I thought it was a
Mhm.
remake, and it's funny because
Yeah,
John Graham, who makes
it's
RB and the Chief, he's the one who told me it wasn't a remake. And when it
y-
like
yeah.
when I
Everyone confuses it for a remake because, and I can't really blame them, but it's not. And I think that's what the after credits scene where you see Ash is supposed to showcase that, because yes, Ash is still around in the world doing whatever, like maybe chainsawing other Deadites in half,
yeah.
but I mean, it's not a super clear indication.
No. But when I started looking at it from, all right, so this is just a different story. They're not trying to rewrite Ash as a girl. Cuz
Yeah.
that's kind of like, and the time frame that I watched it was, like
Mhm.
after The Last Jedi and all that shit. So,
Yeah.
but recontextualized as its own thing, I was like, okay, I really enjoy this. And then I
Yeah.
watched this without going into it, without watching a trailer or knowing anything else about it. I
Hmm.
watched this and I was thoroughly impressed by how good this movie was.
Yeah. Ah, the
Like,
fucking scene where she was swallowing the glass.
oh man,
Ugh.
it's like there's some seriously creepy
What's up,
shit in this.
sis?
Yeah. The opening scene was fucking cool too.
dream.
Oh yeah,
The title
It
card.
was the
the
perfect
title card
day,
coming up from behind the trees and stuff.
Yeah.
and all I could think about was how much I wanted to cut you all open and then climb inside your bodies
Oh,
so
Ah,
we could stay
yeah,
one
the
big
fucking
damn
scalping.
fuck, dude, like I just saw anal. Like I kept going, oh, this is a new movie. It's gonna have a happy ending. Spoilers. If you like horror movies, go watch this fucking movie. This movie
Yeah.
legitimately creeped me the fuck out.
What is this, Danny?
I found it.
And then I found out this is Bruce Campbell's voice.
Yeah. He was in
Something else I like
Speaker.
about I like this movie because remind me of the Blob, the '80s Blob remake, where it's like they kill that little fucking kid, the
Yeah.
Blob gets him. You watch that kid get melted, It's
Yeah.
like whoa, it's like similar to this. It's like whoa,
I
they're
gotta,
gonna kill the
I gotta see that one. I've seen some bits and pieces from it, and it looks awesome.
It's super awesome gore effects.
Look
Yeah,
how
I saw.
fucking creepy she looks.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's the contact. It's the CGI eyes, man. It's better than contacts,
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe it's like I didn't even know they were CGI.
I didn't either when I
Oh,
found that out. I was like, whoa.
You know the scene where the three of them all conjoin together to make one heaving mass?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Oh,
badass.
you know how they all have different eyes, which are symbolic of the different eyes that the Deadites have used throughout all of the films?
I didn't even pick up on that.
Cool.
Like, there's the pale white ones from the original, and then there's the slightly different ones in Evil Dead 2, and then the ones from Army of Darkness. It's really cool.
Yeah.
kiss from you won't fix.
Fucking hell.
God, it's so just. Oh, this scene.
Ah.
Have you?
Oh my god.
Oh,
Fuck, dude.
have
Oh.
you? Okay, hold on. So, one movie I think you all should watch is Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, that one's great.
Bone Tomahawk? I haven't seen
Bone
it.
Tomahawk is
So
all
don't spoil
of
it.
that
Don't
guy's all that guy's
Okay.
movies. So
Yeah.
Craig Zolan. All of his movies are excellent.
Yeah,
Bone
so
Tomahawk,
Bone Tomahawk,
Brawlin' Cellblock 99, and then
Dragged Across Concrete.
Dragged
I
Across
haven't
Concrete.
seen the other two, but I have been told by like people who watch his stuff, including
Dragged Across
random.
Concrete is go blind in that one, dude.
Yeah. So
Holy crap.
Bone Tomahawk is it is like, so the first 2/3 or so, it's like there's some scenes of violence, but it's nothing crazy, and then the last third is just unrelenting, with one of the most memorably brutal kills ever.
It's a couple. There's a couple. That's the thing. Is like that one
Yeah.
gets all the credit, but every other scene of violence is also just as violent and insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bone Tomahawk. Yeah, it's like the Searchers. It's like the Searchers, except the Indians.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Kurt Russell and what's his name? Night Owl, Conjuring, Patrick Wilson. He's in
I
it
wouldn't
too.
scroll too far down in images. You might get spoilers, but
All right.
But
What's
yeah,
great about the violence in that movie is the sound effects. It's like, ew.
the sound design is
So it's like dry. That's what they say. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound as wet as you think. But Dragged Across Concrete was fantastic. Also very violent. Like
fucking
when people
Mel
get shot
Gibson?
in the chest, in the chest, like, and they're
Yeah, it's
gasping
Mel
for breath,
Gibson.
you can hear like their lungs like making like a whistling sound, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're breathing, you know, they got holes in their chest, you know, it's fucking crazy, dude.
But
Man.
Hyper, I actually own Bone Tomahawk on Amazon, so I could stream that at some point if you wanted.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I will have to fucking the problem now is time. I don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Well,
that
honestly,
I'm back
I
to
watch some of
watch-
these movies at double or triple speed because like some of these movies are just like okay. And you know, it gets better when I like slow it down. I'm like, wait, hang on, let's watch this at normal speed. Hang on. Let's see what they're doing here with this. You know?
the pit.
Yeah,
You were
I
telling me
wouldn't.
about this one.
I wouldn't be able to do that. It messes up the pitch of the voices too much.
1981.
This was the first movie because I used to watch horror movies with my aunt when I was a kid. My sister and I would. She would watch us, and she was much younger than my mother, so she wasn't that like she was a young woman. She was a woman, but she was a young woman, like 18, 19 when we were kids. So she would watch all of it. And I remember watching Friday the 13th. I remember watching the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and they were kind of scary, but I remember like this scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And I need to rewatch it. I want to rewatch it with Enzo, like on one of your streams, dude.
Let's do it.
Because I doubt it's gonna hold up as scary as I remember.
It's
but
probably not.
it was so fucking creepy to me as a kid.
Yeah, there were times like that. There was this Stephen King movie about this cat that fights off this weird little gremlin creature that lives in the walls.
Cat's Eye.
Yeah, and my mom saw a glimpse of that where it's
Little
like
Drew
the little-
Barrymore.
Yeah, and it's like the little actor with dwarfism is like crawling across the bread. From a filmmaking perspective, it's actually a really cool shot of how they composited the two together. But she said that creeped her the ever loving, that scared her to hell and traumatized her for the longest time. So when she was a kid, she was terrified of midgets.
Well, the thing is, like, the gnome is in like a midget. He's like the size of like your computer mouse. He's real little,
Yeah,
which was cool.
but the
They built
actor
these like
was-
awesome sets and stuff. Yeah,
the actor had dwarfism, which helped sell it. But
totally.
But the
Dude, there's the other stories in that one are great too. There's the one where James Woods is like trying to quit smoking, and he pays this company. They're gonna help him like quit smoking, and it turns out they're a bunch of like mafia types, and they're like sitting outside of his house, like watching him in his house, like watching him at work, you know. And if they find out that he smokes, they're gonna like
They-
threaten him and his wife with like violence and shit.
they break his fingers and shit. Good luck holding the cigarette now.
Yeah. No, I think one of the things was like, if we catch you smoking again, we're gonna cut your wife's fingers
But-
off, you know? And
and-
you're like,
yeah.
what?
But anyways, I eventually managed to find that scene from Cat's Eye because my mom like didn't know what it was from and like what the context was, and I eventually just found it, and then I said, "Hey, Mom, is this it?" And she got freaked out almost immediately because the memories flooded back. But then she kept watching, and it's like, actually, that's not nearly as scary as I remembered it as
No.
a kid.
Well,
Dude,
and
my mom-
that's the thing, that the barely remembered like stuff that your imagination can take over on
Yeah.
is always gonna fuck you up harder than
Yeah,
Hmm.
imagination
I-
is always scarier than.
I think I
Whatever.
showed Hyperbolic Ninja Mind, which was like Howling 3 has a scene called it came from Uranus. And it's like, I remember I have vivid memory of being in a room like crying, looking at this, and our entire like room full of people are like laughing at me, like adults. And then I rewatch it as an adult, and you're like, oh yeah, no wonder they're laughing at me. The scene's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But my mom was terrified of a movie called The Screaming Skull, and of course, Mystery Science Theater did an episode of it. Me and my cousin watched it a couple years ago, and it is not scary. It is fucking cheese fest. I think what's so scary about it is there's like a loud shrieking sound when the skull screams. It's so loud and annoying sounding, and they do it a lot. So I think it just traumatized her.
When I was really young, I was terrified of the animated Alice in Wonderland cartoon because I just couldn't. When I was really young, I couldn't handle the idea that this poor girl was in such distress throughout the entire movie,
Dude,
and
there's
just
some
no one was even trying to help her.
There's some
Oh,
creepy
yeah.
fucking shit. What is
and
it, like the
that also-
dragon? What is it called?
Uh,
Or dude, I'm trying to remember because the cartoon was creepy as fuck.
yeah, but I when I got older, I rewatched it, and
The
like,
Bandersnatch?
Maybe I don't.
you know, I was able to watch it fine later when
Yeah.
I like got older and whatever. And now I'm watching shit that a lot of adults that I know can't really handle.
Yeah. Well,
Like I watch the Terrifier films because I think they're funny, which they are. It's like dark
They are
comedy.
fun.
Yeah, it's like there's literally a scene where he cuts the girl's back up and then literally goes off screen to rub salt in the wound, like grabs salt and just
Oh,
rubs
yeah.
it in the wound.
The
It's like,
bedroom scene of Terrifier 2 is like one of the most insane things ever put to film, bro.
yeah.
I typically don't go out of my way for that.
Mhm.
Fuck twice as
Dude,
fast.
like,
and then
yeah,
just let it
he
bring
fucking
it.
he like rips out, he like stabs the shit
Mhm.
out of this woman and like rips her scalp, like her face off, and like, you know, butchers
Yeah.
her and pours salt all over her. And then the best part is
And
the mom
bleach.
comes home later, and then the mom comes home and walks in the room, and it's like, oh my god, her mangled corpse, and like the Terrifier is like stabbing at her belly, and then she like wakes
I think
up and
he
she's
was
like,
eating her.
"Whoa!" She's like alive, and she's like, "Mom!" It's like, oh my
Oh my
god,
God.
dude! It's like a puppet, you know? It looks so
Yeah.
freaky.
I've seen the behind the scenes of how they did it. It's actually really impressive.
awesome.
John, yeah, we got Jeb Bush in chat. Welcome, John Ellis
Hello.
Bush. Yeah.
So
no,
Ninja, do you know if the bear in the pit, if it's actually a demon or is it just a kid's imagination?
I don't remember. That's one of the things. This movie scared me so bad that,
Dude, we've
like,
done that
I don't know
so
if I
many
ever
times.
finished it.
And we know some
We've done it so many times in the We Watches where me and my cousin especially, we will watch something from our childhood and it is like so much lamer than we remember.
Yeah.
Not just with horror movies, but like Surf Ninjas I think was one of the few first ones we watched, and my cousin was like, "We gotta watch Surf Ninjas, dude." And we watched Surf Ninjas and it was bad. And it was something. There was something they kept saying in the movie Surf Ninjas, and we were like, "Yeah, that term's gonna be what that's called when you like remember something fondly and you revisit it and it's terrible."
Yeah. A unique concoction of Canadian horror movie and after-school special. Canucksploitation.
Canucksploitation. Pretty
Yeah.
hilarious,
Canucks
actually.
exploitation. Oh, that's how you say it. Yeah.
So Canadian exploitation movies, I'm into it.
That's
That's
a
what I start
that's a
describing Trailer
hilarious
Park Boys
quote.
as.
Dude, Trailer Park Boys is hilarious. I got one of the other
Exploitation.
copyrights I got hit with was I showed like 1.5 minutes of Letterkenny of just them talking about how to cook steak just to confuse everyone. And I'm like, this show's awesome, and then I show that, and everyone, I know everyone in chat's like, what the fuck is he talking about? This show looks fucking weird and lame. But I love Letterkenny. I will say Trailer Park Boys might be funnier, but Letterkenny is really well written.
Yeah, Trailer Park Boys that was another one of those shows I was watching during my weed growing days, and holy shit! Like I think of the peak is like when they have the mountain lion running around the weed farm they got on the side of the highway.
There
Like
might be
that. Like
nudity
once
in
you're like, dude, once you get to that point, you're like, this is the funniest show, one of the funniest shows ever made.
Oh, dude, the first few seasons of Trailer Park Boys is fucking like the best.
The movie's really good too.
It kind of
The movie's good too because it's a
runs
great way to
together.
get people into the show.
Yeah. I would say definitely like maybe don't watch all of Trailer Park Boys back to back because it will get super repetitive, especially in the later seasons.
Oh, I'm not into the Netflix stuff, you know. I gave it a chance and it's just
Oh, that Netflix did
all
some?
right.
And you guys already forgot the
Yeah.
term? Yes, I did. Already forgot the term. I don't know if the bear is his imagination or not. We'll have to find out. Either way, this is one of those like I guarantee you this movie is not fucking anywhere near as scary as I remember, but it did scare the shit out of me when I was like fucking 5 or 6, 7, whatever age I watched it. Oh,
Yeah, like we revisited a bunch of kids. Like I said, we watched Prehysteria, which is like, oh, I remember watching that movie as a kid. It was like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was so bad. And then revisiting Blank Check and Airborne and dude, The Hole's fun. Isn't this like didn't John Carpenter make The Hole? No, it's Joe Dante. He made The Hole.
okay. I'm trying to think of there's a movie where like there's a hole in the wall. Is that what this is?
There's The Gate. The Gate
is
1
The
and 2.
Gate?
Those are cool.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Maybe.
Okay, this is definitely not it.
So there is a horror movie from 1971 called Bay of Blood. That one is really fun, and one of the reasons for it is that, especially for the time, the gore effects are super good. And it went on to inspire a lot of scenes from the Friday the 13th series.
Is this?
Who? I don't know. There's also a sequel from like the late 80s, early 90s. And
Is it like it's like a gate to hell is opening up, but there's like a part where like
this one has like little demons running around on the ground, you know, they're like tiny little demon imps and shit.
is there a scene where like something is trying to break through the wall?
And now, someone
Probably.
opened the gate.
It would definitely been around the time frame of movies that we were watching, fucking horror movies.
Oh,
Yeah, right there.
that's a-
You can see it right there. Something's trying to break through the wall.
There you
That
go.
creeped me out.
The
as a
gate.
kid. Yeah,
There it is.
this is a movie I bet is not.
That's little Steven Dorff too. That's the bad guy from Blade and a bunch of other things. That little kid.
Yeah, I bet this movie's cheesy as fuck too. You said you
not bad,
you guys
actually.
did a watch of this one?
No, I'm saying
Oh.
that's the movie you're thinking of.
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go.
The Gate.
What was it? It was sometimes like cheesy horror movies can be.
Yeah, maybe
plenty
this
of
Halloween
fun.
we'll do the Pit, the Gate 2, the Hole.
I want to see. It's in theaters right now. It's supposed to be really good. Sinners with
Sinners was
Oh.
good. Cinevier said she hated
don't
it.
spoil it. Don't spoil it
It's
for
fun.
me.
It was
I want to
good.
go in
Yeah.
blind.
So I've heard from Cinevere that it made her hate all of Western media, and I've heard from
She's just
Renzo
biased.
that it's
She's just like, oh, it's not, and these people aren't drawn. I don't like this.
good.
These people aren't anime characters. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
don't
bring up
know.
any movie to Cinevere, and she's like, I don't watch movies. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I have backed away from a lot of Western media too, just because
Mhm.
a lot of it seems like super mean spirited. It's not even like they're
No.
trying to make their own characters. They're like trying to take the things I love and go, "Fuck you, you fucking nerd." And it's like, hey,
No,
that's
I know,
not
and even
that's not
original
necessary.
stuff. Like that's just there's a cynicism right now because, and it's mostly
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
shows that did really good, like The Sopranos and Breaking Bad, and Mad Men. It's like I don't know, everyone's wanting to see these like fall from grace stories. These
Well,
and it's
even
like it's getting old.
even
Well-
House of the Dragon, the creators are mad that we like Damon. Like the creators are coming out
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, Damon's not a good dude." We're like, "Yeah, we know that."
It's like
Yeah,
Alan Moore. You're
it's
not
like-
supposed to like
I
Rorschach
I
so
like-
much.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say that. I like to call it the
Fuck
Rorschach
off.
effect. It's like, well, fuck you. You shouldn't have made a good character then.
Yeah, it's possible to like a bad guy, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
look
Also,
at
Rorschach isn't even a bad guy. You could argue Rorschach actually is the hero of the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could actually unironically make the argument for Rorschach that he's the only one with like an even remotely like understandable moral compass throughout all the characters. But
Yeah.
it's like apparently because he kills like rapists and pedophiles, he's pure evil or something. It's like,
Yeah.
no, fuck you.
No, Rorschach's a violent person, but he actually has a moral code.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's why he's interesting. Same with like characters like Punisher and shit.
right.
Yeah.
Well, they hate Punisher too. They because he uses guns. He's a bad guy. Like, all right, man.
No, they don't like him. They don't like him, and they're trying to make it a bad thing. Like, oh, cops and military, they relate to the Punisher. They like Punisher. They look up to Punisher, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, of course they would. You have to understand, like, when you're a police officer and your job is to arrest people and send them to court, a court of law, but like, for a fact this person did like insanely dastardly, awful crimes. Maybe he killed people or did worse to people. Maybe he did shit to like little kids. Who fucking knows? You can't do anything about it. You can't take the law in your own hands, but the Punisher can. So obviously, like a lot of cops would just like totally like empathize and relate and wish they could be the Punisher for a day. Oh, I wish I could just save this taxpayer money and just like do this dude in.
Mhm.
I was
The-
like, why does
yeah,
Cain
there's a-
Vasquez sound familiar? I remember
There
now.
Isn't he that big dummy?
No, he's he
Is he the MMA fighter who says a
Yeah.
bunch of weird shit in
Well-
interviews?
he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for attempted murder.
No, maybe that's not him.
He
But that's the AI overview. They tend to not be very accurate.
Yeah, right. He pursued a man he believed had molested his relative.
Oh,
Is
boy.
what the AI says. Now, the story is he, tried to take fucking matters into his own
Vigilantism.
hand because and I don't want to make the stream go down this road. Thanks, Argon, you fucking dick. But basically, in my opinion, and I don't care if I get in trouble for saying this, people who do that kind of stuff, molestation and other bad things against children, don't get anywhere near long enough or harsh enough sentences because
Well, no, you're
sometimes
not-
they
you're-
could get
you're not alone.
5
You're not
years in prison for ruining someone's life. Whereas
you're-
a murderer can get the rest of his life in prison, even if the person they murdered was someone who did the thing that
Well, you're absolutely not
So
alone in that, because now a lot of politicians are pushing for pedophiles to get the death penalty.
yeah,
In a
I
lot of
mean,
states, like Florida,
yeah,
Indiana, I think is
and
one of
there's
them.
other
You know?
states that are trying to make it a uh the same as like being gay. They call it minor attracted person. They call it
Yeah,
MAP. And go fuck yourself is how I feel about
yeah.
that.
Look, I'm bisexual, and if you ever come to my face and it's like, hey, I'm like you, I'm a map, I'm gonna gouge your fucking eyes out.
Yeah, yeah. It's you know, anything you do with an adult is your business, I feel. As long as both
Yeah.
people are consenting, that's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, Derek, why are you trying to drag this stream down that direction? Fuck off, buddy.
Hmm.
We're talking about bad horror movies, okay? You're talking about some fucking dark shit. But yeah, anyways, I don't know the full story there, but
Yeah.
I will tell a story. When I was going, because when you get sentenced to, uh, there's a program that they did in Nevada for a long time. It was a boot camp program run by the prison system, and it was like last ditch chance for kids around 18, 19, 20 years old, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I had 15 felonies like over my head. I had a suspended sentence of 15 to 27 years in prison. And it was all tweaker shit, possession of
Mhm.
credit card without card owner's consent, uttering forged instruments, so tweaker stuff. I
Mm.
had credit cards, I had checks. I was committing crimes, right?
Uh-huh.
Burglaries and all kinds of things. I did the things that I did, and I should have um I deserve to go to prison. Not 27 years worth of prison. I don't believe the things I did earned that much prison time. But they gave me a chance. And when you
Mhm.
get sentenced to the prison, you go to a maximum security prison uh for a month while they, you know, uh basically it's your intake period. So you can see what your life will be if you fuck this last chance up, right?
Mhm.
Have a good night, Derek. um, but so while I was there, they never open more than one room at a time. So they'll open a room, they'll come by, they'll give you cleaning supplies, you clean your room, the guards check it, and then they move on to the next one because it's high security. Well, one day they decided they were going to open 3 rooms at a time. So they opened my room, the room next to mine, and then a room on the other side of the prison pod. And the guy who was in the other side of the prison pod had committed a sexual offense against a minor. And the minor that he had committed that offense against was the child of the guy in the room next to me. Now, a bunch of paperwork had to have gotten really messed up because one, the person who had committed that offense should never have been in the same area
Mhm.
as us regular prisoners. They always put them in protective custody and they put them in their own like facility so that bad things don't happen to them. But somehow somebody got the paperwork messed up and put them in the same prison pod as the person that they had committed an offense against their child. So then
Mhm.
accidentally they opened all 3 of our rooms at the same time. And while the guard happened to be in our room checking it out, the guy whose daughter had been, you know, things done to him, talking YouTube speak is hard right now, ran over and started beating the ever living shit out of the dude who had done the things. And the
Mhm.
guards go, "Hey, stop that." And then in Nevada, what they have is they have a one warning shot with blanks in the shotgun. So they have one warning shot,
Oh.
boom. Second, second and third shot are both bird shot, and then after that, it's buck shot. So they fire
Mhm.
the one warning shot, and a guard grabs the guy who's beating the shit out of the guy and pulls him away, and then the guard accidentally unloads every other round into the dude. So,
What?
it
Into the
was,
pedophile?
Yeah, so it was all
Oh.
accidental, it was all, just
Yes.
mistakes and
Whoops!
and-
my finger slipped 8 times.
and bad paperwork.
And-
But
and my
The shotgun
elbow
kept-
also.
yeah,
the
so
shotgun kept
bracking it,
cocking
it-
itself and
yeah.
loading new shells.
and
Oops.
then, the guy who had been beating the other guy up got like another year or so added. He got another charge, but there was no one to testify against him when he went to court because the guy sadly passed away due to
Oops.
shotgun injuries.
Man, how tragic.
I know, tragedy. But sometimes the justice system works. But
You know what? I thought you were just going to leave it at the guards saw that happen and they just go, "Hey, you stop that," and did nothing
it
else.
out.
no,
That's where I thought that was going.
it was a wild experience, and it worked.
Wow.
It told me I don't want to spend the rest of my life in fucking prison, and I was able. That's one of the big motivators to get sober, to stop being a shitbag, to stop stealing from people, was not just the boot camp, which gave me a work ethic and an ability to take some pride in myself, but also seeing, hey, they don't like none of the guards are going to give a fuck about you. The prisoners
Nope.
don't care about you. And the first
Nope.
thing that happens to you when you go to prison, if you're a young man, is the older men, the older prisoners, try to get you to murder people. They try to get you to do horrible things. And if you play their game, you will spend even more time in prison. Luckily, none of that shit happened to me. But, yeah.
All right, well, it's
This-
almost 3:30.
This
I'm gonna go,
derailed
guys.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well-
All right, man. I appreciate you hanging out. I really do.
Been fun, man. Of course.
Yeah. I think I'm
Happy
gonna.
birthday.
I think I will also end it because it is 1:30 a.m. Kevin, happy birthday, buddy. I'm glad you
Thank
jumped
you.
on with us. You should learn to interrupt more. It is okay to interrupt.
I mean, I like different topics, but I didn't want to ruin you guys enjoying this one, so
Yeah. Nah, man.
so I was just listening.
I'm super glad you joined us. So once and for all, you say it Tletna, right?
Tletna, but again, John, just call me Kevin.
I will. But it's fun.
Just call me
It's
Kevin.
fun. It's fun to mess that up. I have
the bad habit of making handles or character names that are from foreign or fictional languages, but then I try to spell them out how you would in English, and it just confuses people. So
Well, I mean, I
So-
was calling Heem Hefe Heem Jeff for a while. And
Oh,
then
really?
I
No, it
remembered,
is Jeffy. It is Jeffy.
and
not
then I
Kevin.
remembered
Jeffy?
that Hefe
Yeah.
is
What?
a word.
It's
Jeffy.
Jeffy. It's just meant to be funny.
Yeah.
My name is Jeffy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. I'm super happy you joined in. I really appreciate everyone who jumped in. Cinevere, Enzo, Kevin, Eam. Thank you for joining. And chat,